Grab yourself a seat and keep those hands in the vehicle at all times. You're about to be taken on a ride through the untamed wilds of internet role-playing. Observe them in their natural habitat.
So you head out.
You know that would be funny! I didn't know there'd be consequences!
Enjoy the splendor of their spurgery.
Felix, who is the lion fauna,
And feast your eyes upon the questionable creations of internet randoms.
Actually, I've never DM'd before.
This is the Supernova Safari.
Hi, it's Claire May here. Or is it Blake? The answer? Yes. I'm joined by Noah.
Looks like I rolled a nat 20 on this intro joke.
Liam.
These episodes brought me an indeterminate amount of enjoyment.
And then...
Guys, we don't usually like to cut in the middle of the episode, but the snowpocalypse happened and destroyed us. We're covered in snow.
Oh, fuck. I can't believe everyone had a good joke this week. Nice.
I wouldn't say everyone.
No. Whoa! Alright, everyone. Welcome to Supernova Safari. But before we get into it, Blake, I believe you have a special message for everyone.
Yes, this is a very short announcement. You might have noticed that there might have been some strange delays in terms of either Records of Remnant, this podcast, or the Nude on Pirates. Please be aware that I recently got a new job, so my schedule's a bit wacky at the moment, but everything's fine. There just might be some breaks randomly, but we're going to try and keep everything on track. It's just if you notice that 1 week there's a missing upload, that's why, and don't worry too much. And with that note, I also have a very sad announcement that, in fact, we recorded a podcast episode for Season 2 of the Grimm campaign, Episodes 3 and 4, that I forgot to record the voices of for everyone besides myself. And that's really bad.
Now, I wanted to just have him upload his voice, but, you know, he's not one of the four funny people, so...
Yeah, I'm in fact myself.
Who's the funny people? Me, Ben, you, and Kevin, Liam?
I'm twice as funny as all of you, so...
You are twice something.
Oh, really? You're going confidently in today, huh?
Blake had to do a false start to figure out what angle of attack he was going to use to call him fat. Where was the fat part of that joke? Where did it come in?
Okay.
It's a
Really?
But
I know, but all I know is he's fat!
But as I am going to say, and I think everyone can agree, episodes 3 and 4 of the Grimm campaign season 2 are fucking awful and not even, like, funny. They're just fucking bad.
Yes.
They're the most boring.
4 of us agree with that.
They're the most boring fucking episodes.
I'm the contrarian here.
And as my punishment, I'm going to lead the way in giving a quick summary of them so you're not confused at what we're going to be talking about.
Don't worry, when he says quick, it's not because he's cutting anything out either.
So there's Season 2, Episode 3 of the Grimm campaign, Sewer Sanctuary, also known as Tope's Troops. Okay. And in this episode, basically, everyone is returning to town with Graydon and Sheriff Alabaster. Graydon, you might remember being the bandit, the bandit chief. But don't bother remembering him. This is the last time we're gonna have to mention him. And Sheriff Alabaster. When they get into the sewer, they are met by Takaya, who they've apparently been working with and for the last 3 weeks. Thanks, time skip. And they take Sheriff Alabaster and say he's a very naughty boy, and end up having a long, boring discussion that ends with Sheriff Alabaster in the prison for an indeterminate amount of time, and Graydon out of the story forever.
Very cool.
But there is a really funny sequence where Takaya is really anxious, being like, "You brought me all these people," and guess what? They respond with, "Well, you can ask them to do stuff for you," and he's like, "Great, Problem solved. We can now feed them. We have manpower.
Yeah.
In fact, that means we have food.
Yeah, it's briefly glossed over in the fastest way possible, but as an NPC, Takaya has to acknowledge which missions they complete and which subquests they complete, or else, gamers are going to complain on IGN.
Yes.
So they basically just realize quickly later that they actually need Sheriff Alabaster for something, go back, discuss what they need with him for getting into the sheriff's office, where apparently something they stole a long time ago during their little heist in the manor was information on those cool magic artifacts. Oh, fuck, I have to cover that again. Those cool magic artifacts that they got from the Taskmaster. For the Taskmaster, basically.
Yeah.
And that... Actually, that might not have been the same info. There might have been extra info.
So they go back and forth many different times.
Yeah, anyway, whatever. They need to get to the sheriff's office. That's where the wave's keeping shit now. They go to Sheriff Alabaster's cell again. They eventually convince him through bartering. Carrie tries to shit in the cell. They talk to, the kids. It basically doesn't fucking matter. They talk to this guy called Templeton, who's Eddie's nerd voice character. He also doesn't matter. He gives them a camera blocking out device, which is later retconned into, an EMP grenade. Awesome.
And they then regroup to go to the Skillful, which is apparently, bustling. It's better than ever, with all the gangs taking over the city.
Yeah.
And while they're in the Skillful, they see some dark-skinned gentlemen eyeing them from afar.
Okay. Base.
And they decide to all follow them. Everyone unsuccessfully besides Asher. Arastra tries to, like always, but her AI bugs and she just stops moving. And once Asher sees the gentleman, he follows them into an alley where they no-clip away and disappear, revealing the Taskmaster walking out of the darkness into more darkness as he talks to Asher. But Asher counters with his glow, and the Taskmaster looks mildly unimpressed. And the Taskmaster reveals, would you like me to say it, or does anyone else want to take this more interesting part?
You got it.
I can take this one.
Sure.
I want to summarize the rest of something else also. Basically, the Taskmaster is now actually going through on the reward he promised them, but off-screen, apparently, they handed in the quest for him earlier, but in the time skip. Once again, another detail.
But, also, didn't ask for what he promised them. Yeah. I guess he was just like, I'll get back to you. And they were like,
we'll see.
He canonically handed it off somewhere and never saw him directly.
Also know that the Taskmaster, in fact, uses the logic of, I said I'd give it to you at some point. And Asher, being a fan of this type of logic, understands completely and says, damn, he got me.
Yeah, Asher understands Genie and agrees to that. The Taskmaster basically tells Asher where his old partner who fucked him over once is. And Asher's like, oh, fuck, that sucks, dude. Oh, shit. Thanks for telling me.
Okay.
Yeah, dude?
Sorry, I was going to say, I know you know her name, Noah. Do either of you remember her name?
Miss Pyre.
You got it.
Yeah. Anyway, Abigail Pyre, known as the Heart, who apparently runs the fucking Assassins and Thieves Guild in the city of Morrowind here. Anyway, quite detail. Last important note in this episode, it was established that the thing they're looking for in the sheriff's office is actually just a bundle of magic items, because there's apparently just a fuck ton of magic items that are still covered and that Lemon is currently just selling at her own, estate that the Wave controls. Very cool.
Can I step in here for just 1 second?
Please.
Okay, just a moment here. This is absolutely just dumb. The whole setup of Season 1 was that there was a specific magic item, and now Eddie's just an idiot and made a bunch of them, which does not fit into lore. We had a whole thing on this. It's gone now. It doesn't matter now. Too many magic items is cringe.
You can basically refer to my previous rant in the finale of Season 1 for some close detail. Yeah. Ben's right. Yeah, you can't really do it. There's a world where you do it. He didn't do it here.
And be very aware, viewers. This isn't the last time we're going to rant about magic items in this series.
I just get to do it again now.
Yeah, they're going to come up, and we will be aware that we didn't do, an extensive rant in Season 2 yet.
Yeah. Alright, here, want me to keep going for a little bit and then pass back on evident evidence. Evident evidence is, or also known as 100% drill, is even easier to actually.
You can keep going, then just tell me when you want me to handle the next one, which is very quick.
This episode basically was one really long recording session that was cut up into basically details of poor role playing. And then just really elaborate planning that goes nowhere because Eddie just fucks them on amazing details that we'll cover today. Essentially, they have to plan to get into the sheriff's office, and they stand around in a hallway in the underground section for a while, discussing what they'll do, show up towards the sheriff's office, and spend some time discussing how they'll get in there for a while. Well, Phoenix gets angry and just wanders away for a while. Blake, here we go. Am I missing anything? Oh, they tried to roleplay at one point. No one cared about Asher's thing besides Chad or Chris, and Carrie would just literally make a joke every time they tried to talk about it, and Eddie would cut away.
Yeah. So
what were you saying? Sorry, Liam spoke up. Yeah.
I just want to tell the viewers that there's more planning in this episode than there was for the entire heist in season 1.
Yes.
Which is both, a negative for season 1 and also
a negative for season 2
because it is not complicated.
So this will segue very nicely into the session that is Grimm Campaign Season 2, Episode 4, Evident Evidence, 100% Drill. So this is our heroes, Team Sapphire, getting ready to break into the sheriff's office to retrieve the magic items and whatever else is in the a secure vault within. Now, at the beginning, like Noah said, Phoenix tries to comfort Asher, and the wiki says Phoenix and Pike, which is a fucking lie. So Phoenix tries to comfort Asher about Asher being upset because he's obviously troubled by what the Taskmaster said. Pike decides to speak up every fucking time because Carrie is very uncomfortable, I guess, and just continuously tries to cut him off, and it's really fucking bizarre. And Arastra is also there, not doing anything, but she's there. And then after that, our Team Sapphire and Alabaster get ready to discuss how they're going to break into the sheriff's office. For 40 minutes they discuss.
It's like the whole episode.
They go through plans being
it's as long as the gay shit we do. God!
Well, yeah, but at least we're intelligent. While I tell Ben, I do not want to let the extra NPCs in the boss fight.
No, I meant this podcast we do. We're not intelligent for doing this.
Oh, no, fucking Jesus. Of course not. Look at what we're talking about. But, so, God, we're right. They're discussing how to break into the sheriff's office. They discuss it for 40 minutes, going back and forth over different plans. Are they going to drill through the wall? Are they going to get up on the roof? Are they going to light the building on fire? Are they just going to go in and start shooting everyone?
So basically what it boiled down to was 40 minutes of saying various, different variations of, all right, we're just going to, put this car on fire to draw guards over here, and then Carrie will drill through this wall while they're distracted. And they somehow managed to come up with a dozen different ways to do that exact same plan.
So
it was really bad.
What they finally decide upon is Pike and Phoenix stand next to a new patch of wall by the secure area they're trying to break into of the sheriff's office. Well, Asher, Arastra, and Alabaster go in from the roof to basically cause a distraction on the other side of the facility so Pike can start drilling. But once jumping in, Asher decides that, wow, fuck it, let's improvise for no fucking literally nothing has gone wrong, and he decides to change the plan last minute without telling anyone.
In heist movies, something goes wrong, but nothing went wrong in this one, so they just decide to all go off crazy to make fake tension. Alabaster is waylaid outside as they decide to just run to the evidence room because they learn there are auto-closing fire doors that, lock the doors, basically.
Yeah, okay.
Arastra and Asher run inside. They leave Alabaster fairly intentionally, Eddie just basically decides that. I don't really think they had any input on that whenever he's outside.
I think that's a more pertinent point to talk about, like, once the next episode begins.
Anyway, so basically just like a turret pops up in the evidence room randomly. Pike and Phoenix are just not making any progress outside, and Eddie smiles and goes, "This is a sick place to leave the episode off."
I would like to say, just because I think it's funny, and I want the viewers to know, there's a point where Pike is outside looking for the wall to dig through, and Eddie just says, "Yeah, this part of the wall here is like the Legend of Zelda bomb crack wall that you're supposed to dig at."
And then Carrie goes, "Oh, this one looks like stronger, right?" And he has like a moment of pause. He goes, "No, it's the weaker part, Carrie." He goes, "Oh." Probably the most intellectual intercourse that's ever been done socially on this podcast.
I'd also like to say we had a funny discussion in the recording that I fucked up about why, when a fire alarm goes off in a building, it does not auto-lock all of the doors like a fucking spaceship. Because that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Unfortunately for you motherfuckers, you'll never hear that hilarious conversation. Because it's been lost at time. Unless we're going to go back and retranscribe it, which would be great.
Yeah, like Ben said, we can dub over it.
Yeah, I was really funny.
The Supernova show.
Yeah, Liam was super intelligent the entire episode.
But allow me to bring us into today's actual content, where we're starting off Season 2, Episode 5, Escape Tank Ticks, or Full Anime!
This is the worst title.
It did make me want to just shoot myself.
Sorry.
It's the worst fake title.
This is the
one. These are not technically the real.
This is
what the parentheses one? What do you think? What do you mean? Which one?
Like all together, like as like a bundle.
Oh no, Sheaf Me was way worse. Fuck you. I hate Sheaf Me.
I think that's on you.
And episode 3's was super lazy of season 2. It's just Sewer Sanctuary Tope's troops. It's just alliteration.
Wait. I'm gonna counter something.
Yeah.
What?
If we're just strictly speaking of not because Full Anime is not technically the real title, right?
Yeah.
Like saying but together, but yeah.
Okay, bundled together, maybe, but.
Okay, before next episode. Next episode I hate.
Next episode has the worst title.
The worst. Yeah. Because it's just the worst.
Oh my god.
Keep watching.
Once they put the joke in the title, I don't know. They're very inconsistent about when the joke is the real title.
Well, yeah,
and when the thumbnail is the actual title. Mostly it's like one's like the joke they say in the episode, and one's the other, but they just switch, right?
Like, if you notice, viewers, the last 2 episodes were Sewer Sanctuary and Evident Evidence. For some reason, Eddie just wanted to do alliteration for 2 episodes. Which is like, alliteration is fine for titles. We use it all the time. But it's like, it's just bizarre. It's like Eddie just like randomly was like, yeah, that kind of sounded neat. And just like did it, but then didn't do it again.
It's awesome.
It's so weird.
Very cool.
Eddie starts this episode off pretty weird, I think, personally. Did anyone else note this down too?
He was on some weird shit.
I would say he's on some weird shit for these 2 episodes.
Which is really strange because there's a big recording gap that they admit to. Not even us like doing our analysis on close. They literally admit to it. So it's very weird that it's true.
I'd also like to say I actually thought Chris and Carrie's little joke of like introducing each other's characters was actually kind of funny and like not like a joke I'd riff on because I'm not like that goddamn cynical where I'm like how dare you have fun.
Yeah.
I thought that was just a nice little fun joke, and I thought I should call it out because a lot of them won't be, and I'll be calling those out.
Perfect opportunity for the best intro joke.
Yeah, which is I'm blah 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 understudy. That's too obvious though. I thought that one was too low hanging. I figured someone else was going to take it, which is why I did it basically.
Yeah, I thought of mine later on and decided that I liked it.
Yeah, so. But like I was saying, like specifically, what Eddie opens this with, you guys wrote this down though, right? Like this really was bizarre to me because I want to talk about this, not necessarily negatively, just like very confused on where we're like falling on this. Because when Eddie starts it off is he he does an admission of saying like, "Welcome to Grimm campaign, where nothing goes wrong, we're never off the rails, we're definitely not going down like mess up after mess up," and like sarcastically like implying that this is like a situation that's devolved and like gotten crazy that he didn't expect.
Yeah, it's bizarre because they cut so much we can't tell. Like, it doesn't seem like anything has been worse than it's normally been.
Well, it's not necessarily like I think the gravity. From what they talk about, he says that Carrie says in the part before it's edited when they're transferring to Tailspire. Carrie mentions when Eddie's like talking to them about that he has a Tailspire map. Carrie goes like, "Oh, you have a map now that we haven't just sprung this on you." So like, it sounds like off camera he like was saying like, "Wow, guys, this went way crazier than I expected," and he like needed to go make a map for this that he didn't mean to, which is really weird because like he put the turret in here, right? So like,
no, he literally put that in at the end of the episode because he's like, "Oh, fuck these guys, they didn't do exactly what I expected. I'm gonna put a turret in this room." I guarantee you that's what happened.
Well, see, this is like what I just don't get, because you gotta, I guess you gotta remember, like, you, the GM, hold all the power. If something's making you uncomfortable to do, or like you're not prepared, you just find a way around it.
Well, yeah, but I was kind of falling close to what Liam was saying is that, and my specific like way to describe it is I really think that maybe Eddie got really flustered with the fire doors specifically, because I think when they did when Chad and Arastra decided like we could just go in there and like stay locked in and they can't get in, I think Eddie actually got like, oh fuck, like I think he didn't realize that he had just given them a very easy way to get in the room from his perspective. Like, I don't think he thought of having any of the wave go outside and get the guys trying to break in. I think he panicked, right? Like, that'd be the point.
Yeah, I agree. But honestly, he's just an idiot then. There's so many ways, like, to go about that scene other than just putting, a turret in there. Like, maybe them knocking on the door and be like, "We have your friend. We'll kill him unless you come out." Like probably what's like the most obvious thing to do.
Let me
understands that they wouldn't care.
Yeah, let me counter to that specific. Is what Noah just said. They just wouldn't give a fuck.
Okay, then they execute him, and that'd be based.
Yeah, it would be cool.
And then we had to live in the world where they just let Alabaster get executed.
Sadly, Ben's favorite character, Alabaster, cannot die here.
I know. Well, we'll get into it because let's just say our guy. Our DM's tool, unfortunately, has used up his usefulness, I'm afraid.
And so bizarre!
Ben, before we get too far away from it, Ben, where do you fall in this? Like, because, like, I'm of these two minds. I'm mostly leaning towards what Liam said, but there's a part of me that wonders if this is genuinely just, like a staged thing or something where Eddie's pretending this has gone crazy. Like, what do you think about this shit where Eddie's trying to claim this is like not going the way he expected?
I literally think it's as simple as they were supposed to use the jammer, they didn't, and Eddie literally doesn't know what to do now.
Yeah.
God,
I think he literally just went. They're literally not going to jam the cameras. I built everything around this. I have to punish them. I'm the DM.
You know what's crazy? As a DM, if that's actually true, what you can do is be like, before you begin, you remember you were given this tool. Because you're not retarded.
Yeah,
because none of you are retarded.
Tutorial. What are we playing video games?
Well, what I'm gonna say is this doesn't happen normally. Like, the only time I can think of is something you guys are very familiar with, where some boss is very hungry and some food item is just not used.
Yeah.
Oh!
That's a good
That's
poll.
a callback and a half!
That's a good poll.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Fuck the audience, but that's a good poll.
I mean, yeah,
They're not gonna get every joke.
that's fair.
Don't worry, I didn't get it either, audience.
Sorry, guys!
Yeah, sorry, we're not a friendship simulator like Critical Role.
Yeah. Jesus. Holy shit.
Savage moments.
I can't wait for us to get to
my boyfriend!
critters who are here to leave
Some guy broke into my house.
Any bad critters that are here to send some bad messages, please. It was a burglar.
Listen, I don't hate critters.
I do, but
what the fuck?
So we admittedly you didn't hear the conversation, but we did go over how it's basically one of the most ridiculous things to put a turret in an evidence room. So this clearly is just something gay going, fuck, I need to hurt them somehow. It's a grade gun turret that pops up in the evidence locker
and like
room.
specifically from what Eddie says, audience, like the Wave Gang, like they rebuilt the wall and put this turret in here recently. Like this wasn't something that was here. They deliberately.
He did not describe that. That's nonsense. That was our
it's
assumption.
Actually quite poetic. That wait,
That was
Lemon runs the wave, right? Am I crazy? Lemon runs.
Yeah.
Okay. It's really weird that she would build a wall. Anyway, what are we talking about?
Alright, so that means we're in a thrilling 2-man combat encounter with, well, 4-man, but 2 are outside doing skill checks.
Oh,
I'm being sarcastic because the enemy is a stationary turret.
Yeah, if there was ever a scene to not break out into like combat, it'd be this one.
Just very
Half
interesting.
your players aren't fucking there.
It's very interesting because then there's a scene later this episode which I'd more be inclined to be like a chase combat encounter that isn't a combat encounter. So Eddie's on something different. I think for that scene, we'll get to it later, he said, damn, I can't make this big of a map in Tailspire, fuck! But for this one, he's like, yeah, Room, I got this shit easy.
I will say, the battle map looked pretty nice. I completely understood what he was going for.
Yeah, exactly. He's evolving. Wonder how that.
It was the least dog shit looking map they've had.
Yeah.
And I just gotta say, I want to talk about like literally one of the first sentences said in this room was Chad says, "What's in the room?" Or something like that, and then Carrie says, "How many mice are in the room?" To which Chad responds, "There's an indeterminable amount of rats in the room."
They are clowning on this indeterminable shit. Like, this is the running.
He does this. Chad says this multiple times. Oh, and I love that he's just shitting on Eddie.
Oh, wait. I believe we said this at one point early on, but we are in sassy, like, punish Chad now. He is just backhanding Eddie, like, passive-aggressively so many points during these episodes. And I think I've noted all the ones that were very funny down, so we'll be able to relay them. But it's fucking awesome. I love this energy from Chad. He has gone over the horizon and is now black-pilled. Yeah, so it's combat, so we're just basically going to go through and see who has notes on interesting things that happen before the very interesting thing that happens.
I have one in the middle of combat covering what our 2 battles outside the room are doing.
Sure.
So it's really funny because, you know, our anime protagonist Pike is charging his anime drill to drill through the wall, very anime-like, as he's literally like yelling, as Eddie's like telling him you're inspired by anime and really doing it, and then
Blake, it's not even that. Carrie literally just asks, "Hey Eddie, can I be cool and like fire my drill?" Fire my drill cannon to dig faster. You know, something that like my drill probably should like be designed to do because it's a gun, and like being able to like drill faster when it shoots sounds like a cool mechanical thing.
We're just trying to demolish a wall. We don't care about precision.
No.
No.
Oh, okay. I guess I'll like anime scream.
Well, no.
That is why I like this, because Carrie isn't like, I'm gonna be an anime character that's epic. He's more just like, okay, I guess I drill harder and do a yell or some shit. Like, he was trying to like
can I also say
his aura point expenditure, and he's just like, no.
I also love that, in my opinion, I think it's very funny that he makes him roll strength for this.
Yes.
Because why? Hey Liam, you ever get a drill from the hardware store and you really have to? It's, you know, they design it so you have to have physical strength to use it.
Yeah. And
He's got a hand drill.
Now,
Yeah,
I know what people were gonna say, but it's kind of gay. It's a RWBY drill weapon, whatever. I don't know. I think it should be like intelligence, maybe.
Or like,
How about this? It's a wall. It's a wall they're trying to break down.
2 attacks.
Make it just an attack roll. Just give it like 50 HP and be like,
also-
carry, do 50 damage to it.
That maybe that.
Well, if you just and then like your basic attack is just you drilling through the wall.
Maybe
not-
if he did it like that, he wouldn't have to let Chris clown himself.
Oh,
because
right.
this, Chris goes, GM, I have a rules question. To which I recoil instantly because I know this will be bad. Where Chris asks, Eddie, I would like to do the help action to help carry. How does this work again? To which Eddie replies, just throwing his 5th edition module into the furnace, going, yeah, just roll strength, dude.
No, okay. And then Chris does the base thing, which is rolls a 1.
Yeah, like I said, he rolls a 1, and Eddie goes, ha ha ha, yes, perfect. Literally word for word, I'm not fucking with him, he said that. And then he describes that Phoenix clearly then decided helping Carrie would be taking his fist, punching the stone wall, hurting himself, rolling D4 damage to hurt himself, and then doing a cartoon ouchie hand wave. Because Headmaster Rivas is fucking hilarious. I'm surprised he didn't break Carrie's fucking weapon.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't fuck with Carrie doing it. Because Carrie was doing it alright, and like, if someone in the area rolls a 1, obviously you have to punish the group.
Now, I don't know if you guys have played 5th edition, but I don't know if that's what the help action does. I don't know if that's how the help action works. Do I have anyone nearby who could explain to me how Eddie's just the worst possible?
Well, what's he gonna do? Grab onto the drill and help him drill faster, Noah? That wouldn't make any sense.
I mean, while the help action does have to make sense, I mean, in that situation, it's like,
He just stands behind
I don't
him,
know,
supports
Eddie.
his
It's
shoulders
pretty
or
cut
some
and
shit.
dry.
More dust. That's how he's doing it. Why not? I don't know. Just like fuck.
You can flavor that 1,000
At
ways.
some points, you could just say, you do something that helps him. We're not fucking idiots. There's probably a way that makes it make sense. Let's not put more than minimal thought process into your turn that doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, it's really cool. I'm sure Chris appreciated his 1 turn in combat being that. Oh, earlier in combat, the first combatant of the fight was, of course, Erastra Sky as the leader. I want to mention this. Erastra early on shoots the turret. She rolls like a 14. It doesn't hit, so it is like good plating or something. Like 14, like, yeah, sure, reasonable amount of AC for like a turret to have. But Laura's reaction is so out of place and overblown. She does like a little gasp and goes, what? Under her breath really sharply.
God.
Spit fucking water out that she was shocked that she didn't hit. Like, these guys must... Like, they really expect enemies to have really low AC in this fucking game. Probably because they're playing a class that has awful stat distribution. Yeah, I think that was funny. But,
Can I also point out, just real quick, I found it very funny when Chad was like, he gets like kind of like this moment where you know, Pike is spending a lot of AP to drill, right?
Yeah.
He's like, damn, you're spending a lot of AP, and I'm like, yeah, it might seem a lot to you, Chad, because your character probably has like 4. Pike has like fucking 14.
He's like 18. He's like, he can do whatever he wants. He's an oral boy.
Oh,
God,
but don't worry,
that
Chad got to
sucks.
uncanny dodge.
Chad got a little extra. He got an extra tech, which he got to see, you know, in the dark, Ben. That's pretty based.
Holy shit.
Holy based. Okay, but now for the fun parts of the encounter begin. So, as we're spinning through turns, the turret takes like a turn to set up. It gets a pass turn. And we come back to Erastra. And she shoots it with lightning dust. And if you remember from a long time ago, Erastra Semblance, her semblance effect with lightning dust is that deals electric damage extra and it paralyzes for 2 fucking turns because Erastra's busted. So he's like, yeah, okay, it's paralyzed. We spin around the turns for a while. We're going past everyone. And we get back to the turret's turn. Should I continue, or does someone want to take this one?
I'll take it.
Please, Liam.
So we get to the turret's turn after it was shot by lightning. Eddie's like, yeah, I didn't mention this earlier. Yeah, sorry, my bad. I forgot to mention it. But the turret isn't paralyzed, and it's going to attack you this turn. to which Chad reasonably responded, "Why not?"
Why not?
To which Eddie responded, "Well, it's not a person."
It's not a person, dog.
Very cool, Eddie.
Cool, Mr.
And Chad gets so fucking upset. He's like visibly mad. And he's like, can at least have disadvantage because the electronic turret was shocked with electricity, Eddie?
Eddie is like, I took double damage, man. Chad huffs, wow, yeah, that's fine. Like, it is so awesome.
And it's only really bad. It's bad because it didn't get paralyzed because that's retarded and doesn't make any sense. It's really bad because he's like, oh, haha, oopsie, whoopsie, poopsie, I didn't fucking tell you, and now it's its turn, you're getting shot.
Yeah, like, they did all their turns assuming they didn't have to worry about it. Like, as the GM, when you make a fuck up, you're like, ah, shit. Oh yeah, I guess it's paralyzed this turn because I'm only catching it now, but it shouldn't be. And then you don't be like, ah, well, I fucked up and gave you guys bad info, sorry. Like, thinking a target is stunned, and because they are on specifically a mission to, like, get shit and get out, they really have the objective of not needing to fight. So they're like, cool, we can hurry on that plan. So for it to suddenly be like, oh, dumbass, you're actually gonna get shot, really is probably the worst thing ever. And holy shit.
Oh yeah, it's
Eddie, I really can't get over the ignorant, like not the ignorance, but the audacity to take no personal blame in that situation and just muscle on with the grin on his face. I've come to believe that Eddie's chuckles and grins are probably anxiety-induced, like, coping mechanisms a lot of the time. So I don't think Eddie is always actually sadistically laughing. There are times when I feel it, but I think times like this he's nervous about it and be like, it's taking more damage, man! I don't think it took double damage initially. I think he bumped it up to try and make him feel better.
Yeah, it's just like, how... Eddie just needs to slow down just a little bit and just think things through of just like, how do I make this game fun and not, how do I make this game realistic? What's the correct thing that would happen here?
Which
in my cynical worldview.
Grim, dark RWBY dimension. And really, like, you can say ease off on him, guys. He's new. He's a new DM.
This man has 2 seasons under his
You
belt.
can't say that now.
And it's in an encounter with one enemy. And he forgot the one enemy's immunities. It's gotta be shitting me, dude. Come on.
But here's the thing. Imagine you... This is like a TG post of like, dude, my DM totally made his DM PC like totally wreck us because he was like, no, he can't get paralyzed. It's a turret. It's a turret, Eddie.
DM PC turret.
It's just a fucking turret. He needs this. He can't have an encounter be ever handled effectively. Something has to go wrong. Someone has to roll low at some point so I can do a funny description, right?
Why didn't you just jam it? God damn it, guys. I have to punish you now, Sigh. Oh.
To which Chad, like, slaps his forehead and goes, oh my god, I forgot about the EMP we have. To which I go, it's not EMP, Chad. But no one apparently remembered what it actually was, including Eddie. So Chad...
the snowpocalypse.
Yeah, no, this is pre-snowpocalypse.
No hate to people living in Texas, but oh no, a snowflake.
Oh no,
I'm literally dying.
Oh no, our infrastructure is down.
So Chad basically just brain wipes them and just like gets an EMP grenade, which is awesome.
I should try that on you sometime, and Liam, especially Liam.
Ross refers to like a funny smoke cloud, or a fog cloud, like the turret relies on
God,
visual.
she loves throwing out fog clouds. Holy
I was gonna
shit.
say she's casted Fog Cloud more than like anybody's ever casted Fog Cloud in all of 5th edition.
I mean,
It's not even that
it's
good.
a
It's a
real
good-
look.
it's a
Concealment
good
is
spell.
really good in 5th edition. However,
It is.
um,
Cloud's always been useful a spell, but I don't know. She does it in really weird ways. Also,
yeah, strange ways, honestly.
she puts it on people a lot. Like not as like a in between
Well,
me
I
and
mean,
people.
it's never like been used in like Tailspire how it should be.
Never.
I think Eddie's just like, she casted Fog Cloud. I don't fucking know. There's no like way to draw a box in this fucking thing.
Cool program.
I know she's casted it in combat a bunch. I don't know when it's ever had an effect.
Oh, like basically never.
Like, You
I
as
don't
a
think
player
he knows
lose
I don't
vision
think
in a
he
Fog
knows.
Cloud, right?
Yeah.
I don't think he knows what concealment does.
Hell no. He doesn't know what the
No.
fucking action is. Holy shit, he sucks.
God forbid when one of these players hits 0 hit points and he just kills them instantly.
I wish, but they'll never even get close, bro.
If
And
if season 3 happens and any of them make a death saving throw, I'll eat my fucking hat.
that'll
Like,
be
there's no
insane, dude.
fucking way. He
Well,
knows
don't
what a
remember-
death saving throw is.
Don't remember, Ben. Instead of doing a death saving throw once, they do the aura like death rattle thing. So the class has the
God.
inbuilt fucking one res for like long rest or whatever it was.
Why did you fucking remind me of that?
Because you must know the horrors.
That's
of the Huntsman
arcane.
class. Yeah. So it was it's epic. This combat's going great. Phoenix is getting angry. And then, oh no, something happened. Something that's never happened to, like, professionals like us before. Eddie comes on the comms, and what does he say, Blake?
We took a long break. It was a snowstorm. We're actually recording this 1.5 weeks later. Please ignore the different dress.
And then you look down and you notice that Chad, Laura, and Carrie are basically just wearing the same outfits, and you kind of just chuckle to yourself softly at how embarrassing it is.
I mean, maybe. Well, no. Maybe they were paying attention and they didn't want to break continuity. But then
Laura wouldn't. If Laura wasn't included, I'd agree with this joke. But Laura was there.
Never mind. You're right.
Oh, fuck. Okay, one thing I did forget to mention, actually, that is kind of important as, like, a joke. So, right before this cut happens, Asher says, as they're, like, grabbing shit and trying to get out of the place, Asher mentions that as they're, like, getting out and stuff, he's trying to, like, look for Alabaster. Like, at least look for him.
Oh, God, this is actually very important.
Yeah, I'm glad I remember it. And then we don't really hear the result of that because the cut's basically there. And then Eddie basically opens up the next time. He's like, all right, so, like, basically last time what was happening, you guys were, like, abandoning Alabaster, right? And you kind of do, like, a double take, like, oh.
Yeah, because for us, it's a matter of seconds. For them, it was, like, 2 weeks.
Yeah, so they just basically forgot and decided, I guess we're fuck that guy, right? Like, actually, Chad doesn't remember he was looking for him.
Fuck, you know, it's too much to ask, but they could at least have, like, a refresher on what they did, like, to themselves before they start recording the second part of this episode.
Dude, they have to work so hard on RWBY Volume 8 that is literally being produced as it's airing right now in their timeline. They have to go run and do that.
But I thought
the frames are being made as it's uploaded.
But no, I thought it was fully done by the time they started uploading it.
No. They never do that. They always lie, and then they always have a break where they admit they didn't.
Why? Yeah, they literally always take breaks in the middle of fucking RWBY, and like, it's like, hey, if it's all done, why the fuck are you taking a break?
They're very transparent about it. They just basically admit each time, yeah, we didn't finish it. Eventually.
Why does they keep doing it?
I don't know. But hey, at least someone's looking out for Alabaster, right? Right, guys?
No.
Yeah, so the door's
Alabaster
open.
isn't a character.
The door's open.
And the turret guns down anyone on the other side.
Yeah, it starts just shooting indiscriminately. Cool security system. Okay.
Cool, Wave Gang, you really did
Not
it.
authorized to be on the sidewalk.
I like to think that Alabaster somehow managed to 1v100 the Wave Gang to open the door to greet his friends
doing
and was
some
gunned
Doom
down
shit out
mercilessly.
Yeah, exactly. I will point out here, Pike is describing that Pike says he kind of wants to save Alabaster, but man, that'd be really hard. So he abandons it. Chris says Phoenix is gonna pick up and carry, quote, baby Pike, to which Carrie goes, ooh. And then, as he's being carried away, Carrie tries to reframe the scene as Pike is screaming, Alabaster! As Phoenix drags him away. Like he didn't just admit that his character wasn't looking for him, because Carrie's a psychopath!
Oh, and this actually ties into something earlier. I'm sorry I didn't mention this, but when he's drilling, he goes, I think about leaving them for just a second.
Oh, fuck! Oh, God!
I can't wait to slip that into the next fucking Records of Remnant session.
I forget that. That was Psycho Pike number 10. He says, we can leave Phoenix. We can just abandon them. And he goes, well, guys, you don't know the turret's actually up in there, which is weird, because they should hear weird, like beeping sounds. And Carrie's like, it was just a joke. But then later mentions that Pike is once again thinking about it. Briefly, but thinking about it. So, yeah.
I'm hungry. I don't want to dig through this wall. I'm hungry. I'm gonna go get some tacos.
Pike and Phoenix outside. I'm hungry. I'm bored. I don't want to drill here. We could leave, Pike. Like they're literally like just deciding to leave would have been the best development for their characters.
They literally are just a comedy duo.
Oh yeah, short stack and tall stuff. Yeah. So they got running. And, fucking... I don't think I'm cutting anything off. Is there any more in this combat you guys have written down that you want to talk about?
No.
Transitioning into the chase scene.
Yeah, no. I just have stuff for the chase part.
Okay, then
I think that's it for me.
Yeah.
Asher, I think it's Asher, does say that he tries to listen for the death sounds of Alabaster, he does not hear anything because he rolled low.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, exactly. So they go running, and Eddie informs them because the Wave owns this part of the city. They have the alarm system, which makes sense that Remnant would have air horn alarm systems for Grimm and shit emergencies. So that makes sense. What's really funny because Eddie's just basically yeah, there's just sirens blaring everywhere, alerting people in the entire city, and you're oh, fuck.
He says they've taken over the emergency broadcast system. And then they play the emergency broadcast alert sound in the video. And I'm 90% sure that's illegal and you can't do that. That's an FCC thing, and I should report them to the FCC.
Absolutely.
Because I'm 90% sure you can't do that.
But come on, man. Be cool.
Be cool, man.
Be cool.
Be cool. Get to pay to see it. Blake, your girl hears something here. Do you want to describe why it's really retarded that this flavor text Eddie gives her, or did you not write it down? Because I thought this was really funny.
I didn't write that down. Isn't that when she fucking cat jumps onto the building?
No. Here,
I got it. So he's like, Arastra, because you're a minor.
Fuck yeah! No. Oh god. Oh, sorry. I remember. Okay.
Do you want to
I didn't write it down, but I remember this. So
just took it and ripped off.
So basically, Eddie's like, okay, why don't you guys roll me some.
He's role playing again.
Give me some perception to hear this. And basically, 3 people roll it. Arastra rolls third and gets a high number, so he's like, hey, yeah, Chris, no one fucking cares about you, just don't even bother. So Arastra perks up her funny little cat ears with her cat legs. You know, they look nice. And when she perks them up, Eddie goes, you heard some rumbling in the distance. It sounds like mine equipment. You know, because you're from a mine family, in a mine. And it's big. It's some big machinery. Some big stuff. It's coming at you really fast. And you notice. Do you want to tell people? And then she considers if she tells anyone. And decides, I guess. And then tells her team that there's in fact some big machinery on the way.
Yeah, he's basically like, you're a miner, so you hear loud mechanical sounds, and you recognize it as something big and mechanical is on its way.
I don't know what he meant by that. I don't know what he fucking means. He stretched so fucking hard for that one.
It's so nonsensical. It's just what does he mean?
God, you're a deducing mastermind of the roster. You were a drill before.
I don't even get what being a child has to do with any of that.
Liam, you're a programmer, so you can hear the tippy taps of the keyboard miles away.
Yeah.
But it's not even that. He says it as like you can identify the sound. It's not that he's keen eared. It's just like you hear machinery, so you know it's a big machine.
That's so dumb.
Like verbatim, that is basically what he says.
That's what he said. It's so fucking stupid. And yeah, it's a small detail, but it just makes me wonder, like, why, Eddie? Like, did you just think you need to say more than you hear big machinery? You need to, like, make it special that X character heard it, so you gotta pull up some memory they have, and a roster came up with, wow, you have no backstory. Fuck!
No.
I don't fucking get it. Anyway, they just, like, go up a building, they look down, and they go, oh shit, there's a tank in the street! Because I guess we're just in Afghanistan. This tank
They stole Atlas Tech, Noah!
Well, no, because this is a Lotus tank, which implies Mistral Tech, which is vaguely Asian.
Never mind, they're just
he did say it's a Mistrali Lotus tank.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and he doesn't really describe it outside of generic parts that a tank has. So there's no real reason we understand why it earned its name, but it has such a distinct name. So, like, I mean, like, you know, bullheads. I could describe a bullhead. You know, like, vehicles look a little Halo-y in this universe. Why don't you, like, describe why it's a Lotus tank? Is it, like, circular to a degree and has a rotating turret that goes on an axis like a lotus flower? Is it because it hovers like a lotus petal in the river and it's got, like, hover wheel things? Like, that makes sense to me. But, like, you're not fucking... It's just another. I think I said this a lot last week with Templeton when the nerd NPC was showing up. The only description Eddie had for him was he has glasses, those weird kinds, and Chad had to provide the name Jeweler's Glasses to explain what Eddie meant. But he never described the physical appearance. But he still describes, like, the tank having a fucking barrel. So, I mean, great, dude. Thank you for describing that. He also artistically has to mention, guys, it's dust-powered. Like, there's fucking anything else in this setting that isn't dust-powered.
Not like, you know, coal-powered.
You know what? I guess he has to clarify it's not a fucking magic item. Never mind, I go back.
Oh god, one of the magic items is a fucking giant tank.
Yeah, it's a magic item, bro.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Carrie can get... Oh my god. Carrie can have his fantasy. He can get into a fucking thing from Gurren Lagann as a magic item.
Bros, I can't wait for a magical mecha Carrie can drive. Oh, fuck, this is gonna be great. Also, holy shit, it's a fucking tank, Eddie, Jesus! I know you're all thinking probably, oh great, a tank boss fight. I mean, they downed a fucking plane. No, actually, reasonably this time, they do just run away. So...
They beat a fighter jet, and they can't beat a tank.
And yeah, exactly. And it's not even a runaway fight. It's skill check rolling in a linear hallway.
So I'd also like to ask, or not ask. I'd like to say, like so Kuchinashi, yeah, it's like a city-ish area, kind of modern, kind of grungy. Well, like there's some shit. Why the fuck would you bring a tank into the streets of a city?
Okay, I have a better point that builds off of yours, even to point out how even dumber this is. You're on the right track, but also remember the only way through Kuchinashi is through elevated systems of pulleys and elevators. Kuchinashi is in a canyon, and it's an elevated platform. So to get this in, they did have to fly it in on a freighter, like a bigger airship, or like a specialized elevator to get this tank up so it can roll down city streets. Like, why didn't Eddie say the Lotus tank is specifically for urban environments and it's a smaller, compact tank? Like, you're right, Blake. This tank is literally just like your suburb police force fucking charging you more money to have a cool tank to ride around to scare people, basically.
It just doesn't make fucking sense. Just hire, like, 5 more guys. Give them, like, get them some fucking motorbikes.
Has connections.
Like, just give them some goddamn motorbikes.
I get what they're going for. They're supposed to show that they have a lot of technology. It's very strange, though, and it plays into something else amazing here I'm going to get into in a minute. But I want to get through one little bit of this encounter first. I just want to throw in some flavor text Eddie has here, as they are describing where they're running and which direction. Eddie comes in with, I'm not too worried about directions. This clarification is just for the sake of the fiction. I don't want to talk like this, Eddie. You're not ESL, right?
I wrote this down too. I hate the way Eddie describes things that really he doesn't need to describe.
Yes.
Eddie, just say there's an exit a couple blocks away. But I know you don't have a map of the city. That's fine. I'm not judging you for that.
Yeah.
You might want to make one if you're going to set a whole campaign in here, but that's beside the point. But
yeah,
just you don't need to give directions. We know there's no relations. We're not going to be like, oh, what the fuck? Last time we were here, the police station was to the southwest of this place. No one's going to give a fuck about
these
that.
These players are not that attentive. We had a big talk about this, and we can kind of get it. We're kind of getting into it again. It's like the planning shit with this sheriff's building break-in. That Eddie went into so much detail about like floor plans for this place, when what their plan equated to was they jumped through a ceiling vent into one room, ran immediately to one other room, and that was all that was necessary for them to know. They didn't know shit. Like, none of this matters, but Eddie gets nervous that he's not like describing things enough. Always at the worst time. Never with characters, never with important things. It's like locales and like details of the the geography that aren't necessary. It's not like when he talks about the hedges, he's talking about the urban environment's look to give you a feeling. He's being like, I'm going to describe that there's a bunch of pathways we're going down where you go east and down and through this one. And it's like, Eddie, that's not really the best descriptor we need right now, especially in this chase scene where the players aren't going, Eddie, I want to run left. They're going, Eddie, I want to keep running away. And he's like, okay, well, you go down left on Grove Street. And they just kind of pause and are just drumming their fingers, waiting for the next skill check. Because, as Eddie likes to say, nothing goes off the rail here. Haha, players are definitely not on rails here. Proceeds to literally force them down the most hallway skill check segment this campaign has ever seen yet. What? Why was that rant at the start of the fucking episode about if we're just gonna get here?
Really? Also, I have a question for you, Liam, as they start to scatter.
Oh boy. Yeah.
So, you like One Piece, Liam?
It's okay.
You like the section in One Piece where Ace and Smoker and Luffy are having a funny punch-up to a restaurant in Alabasta?
Yeah. I love that part.
Want to do that again?
Oh, fuck.
That's exactly what one of them does.
Yeah.
It's just like they punch through
the funny guy.
They punch through a restaurant and all the people go, whoa.
Yeah, and Pike like does a funny thing. He slides on it. You know the scene from Heavy Rain? That entire ridiculous chase scene with the agent running for the Asian supermarket. Like, Eddie makes sure he describes Pike going through that because Pike's the joke character. We need to get one of those in to really get the segment going.
I could only wish that Pike Wright would have to go through the fucking antics of Heavy Rain where he has to mutilate himself. Could you imagine?
Awesome.
Can you imagine Pike Wright like crawling through a fucking like tunnel of glass and then having to chop one of his fingers off?
I do it every time before I go to sleep. I'm not a psychopath. Here's where the Chekhov's gun of the EMP device that wasn't an EMP device comes back, and Eddie probably mentally is like chastising himself for giving them an EMP device at this point. Chat's just like, I'm gonna throw it at the tank to disable it. And instead of Eddie going, why would that disable it? He goes, oh, fuck, they're going to disable it. And they throw it at the tank, and he says it buys them a few seconds. That's it.
Damn, Templeton, you're fucking a genius. A few seconds, god damn.
It's so awesome. And then they go back to the QTE highway, and Eddie describes this as there are people in cars rooming up and pulling up down the streets and like guys jumping out and chasing them. Like they are literally at 5 stars in GTA right now. This is basically where the scene goes. Nice. Throw that up on screen, Blake.
You probably maybe show that on screen, maybe.
This shit is really like getting like fucking ridiculous. And Eddie is escalating to a point where you're wondering like, okay, how are they gonna, like, actually break away from these guys, minus, like, literally leaving the city, right? Would anyone like to answer how they do it in the most heroic way possible? because I can do it.
I'll let you do it.
Okay. So they eventually, Eddie decides, all right, this chase has gone in long enough. So they kind of meet back up, and they go towards one of the sewer entrances, and a bunch of Takaya's like men, Eddie describes them are. So I guess he does have some non-child soldiers are there.
Well, yeah, they just brought him some.
Yeah, and they right, yeah, these are Graydon. You know what? These being Graydon's men makes so much more sense. If it's not clarified if that's true, but if you infer that, this makes their actions make more sense because they immediately decide, I know how we'll distract them. As they describe them, start throwing dust everywhere and blowing shit up as a distraction. So Takaya's terrorist cell just like starts bombing the part of the city they're in so they can get through the sewer entrance. Fucking awesome, guys! You're heroes. Like, this fucking chase scene is described at one point as this tank blowing up a building they're on. They have killed people doing this chase scene. This destroyed, like, a block of the city.
No. They're in the abandoned buildings district. They're good.
They literally ran through a populated diner, though, Ben. You can't say that. I wish that you could say that.
No, people have aura, I think. No,
they don't.
Not everyone has aura. They're fucked.
And I'm here to tell you all that that's the end of the episode. That episode is really fucking dumb.
Awesome.
It is just terrible, like, fucking action scene over and over again. It is a terrible combat followed up by a terrible action scene where they're just kind of going along while Eddie pretends like they're on their own, like, whoa, these guys are really breaking out of my fucking trail road as he pushes them down a singular hallway. It's really funny. Does anyone have any more fucking notes on this episode?
Yeah, take notes, DMs, you fucking idiots. Don't let your players disrespect you by going
No, that ending sequence was basically kind of awful of them just running away, blow shit up, get into sewers, escape.
Yeah.
It's like you're scrambling at the end of a Left 4 Dead map.
I want to explain that canonically, the reason the tank doesn't follow them is he shoots a building near them, misfiring, just because Eddie's decided it's over, and the rubble blocks his own way from progressing. Like, the enemy is just incompetent. They literally blew up their own wall to protect the people they're chasing. Fuck me, Eddie. Jesus Christ, dude. This episode feels like Eddie literally came up with shit on the spot, which doesn't make sense to me because he had a whole week for it.
Yeah, really.
Or more, depending on how they fucking filmed this. God help them. Alright, well... Yeah, don't worry. This next one has some meat on its bones. As we get to Season 2, Episode 6. He's not Takeo. He's Givo.
This is the worst. This is
the worst.
Oh,
title.
sorry. Visiting old friends. This is the worst title. Like,
this is the worst title. This is like the worst episode.
It doesn't even fucking have anything to do with the episode. Yeah, they do it like at the end, but it doesn't fucking.
It's a joke they said in the episode, and
yeah.
This episode literally has a very important, long, entire sequence scene in it that is really important. But instead of titling it anything related to that, even in the subheader, they just go, well, Phoenix said something about tacos near the end of the episode in a scene that didn't matter. So we're calling it that.
So this is like if I named the third session of Enos Lobby, instead of anything to do with what you did, I just named it Homer's Drink. Like,
Homer's drunk, yeah.
It has nothing to fucking do. It's so inconsequential.
It's just a joke.
Especially because this episode is actually very focused on one individual thing. Which is why it's so much worse than being like, what the fuck? Why did you not just make the title relate to, like, the singular thing that's going on?
Yeah. And it ruins the joke.
And it
That joke could have been funny.
Literally
he said it, and I was like, oh, I've already heard this.
Like, Liam's literally right. Like, it's not, like, a winner of a joke, but it is just the joke. There's no better setup.
Yeah, I'm just I guess he's gonna give tacos to somebody, I guess.
Yeah. It's just, like, a real big brain Eddie moment here. And I'm here to announce that we are on the episode where Eddie decided last time he did not show how high his IQ was. and he's ready to really show off how good of a DM and how powerful he is this episode. So I'd like to introduce you to Season 2, Episode 6, Eddie Rivas is a terrible DM, parentheses, I'm not fucking joking, Eddie, you fucking suck at this. I'm taking the gloves off this episode, and I imagine the rest of you are as well, and I'm just prefacing it here now, because we've held ourselves from being too belligerent sometimes, and we like to go back and clarify and be like, whatever, a D&D show online, whatever. This is enough, literally enough. This is one of possibly the biggest encapsulations of Eddie's failures and just terrible ideas bubbling over. He's at his most ghoulish, he's at his most malicious in his presentation, and the worst part is he's at his most poignant with a few lines that make you go, if you can understand why this line is good, why do you do the things you do, Eddie?
It's really, like, this episode
sucks in a great way.
Yes, and we're gonna go like, I know at least I plan on really.
Well, yeah, like I said, we're gonna be Eddie. Mean. We're gonna be mean to Eddie. If you thought we weren't mean to Eddie,
I'm gonna be really nice to Eddie. I fucking love Eddie.
Yeah, I love this guy.
No, Eddie's a fucking idiot.
Take a look at it. He's a beautiful man. He's good. He's great. Mr. Rivas has never ruined anything he's involved with. Almost always.
His grin scares me.
It's
Am I the
really
only one?
terrifying.
Before we get into the episode,
this is terrible.
Please buy the Team Supernova shirts.
Oh my god!
In the Supernova store.
Fuck me. They literally just start the episode being like, "Check out this cool RWBY t-shirt we have. Buy it." And then they make a really funny joke because 3 of them are wearing it. Where they go, "Can you guys give me some charisma rolls to see who's wearing the shirt best?" And then Eddie rolls the nat 20, boys!
You guys won't believe me. I rolled a nat 20.
You're
awesome.
You're killing me, guys. Making me remember this is pain.
So Eddie starts the episode off by basically calling them retarded immediately. Because Eddie talks about in the recap section, because he starts recapping and hands it off to Chad. Well, he starts recapping, and he immediately makes fun of them for something that I have 2 minds about. There's an argument to be said, this is fair, and there's an argument to be said, you're a dickhead for making us do it this way, why would we do it this way? You have to assume we're retarded to do this. Where Eddie goes, you guys really should have waited till it was nighttime to rob the sheriff's station.
I hated that. That was so fucking annoying.
And I could not believe him in the fact that you know what? Maybe this is Eddie's way of getting back at them for wasting 4 fucking hours of his life planning that stupid break-in where they didn't even mention if it was night or not. But I feel there's another angle to be taken where you should probably just say, like, hey, dude, assume your players aren't literally, like, brain dead.
Yeah, but, like, they woke up in the morning, and then the first thing they said was, let's go do the thing we planned. So that means it's daytime.
Yeah,
right?
Like, and I feel like they acted like they spent the day planning this in that episode. Like, it's really a really mean thing, and it doesn't even matter because the daytime part didn't come up at all last episode in the slightest. Like, there's never like, oh, fuck, it was day, that's why it was so hard. He just basically makes fun of them for something that didn't matter because he didn't punish them for it in the first place. So, like, yeah, Eddie, you're right, but would it have really changed anything that happened?
Well, those civilians wouldn't have been in that bar and they wouldn't have died because of
I would have loved if he implied that. That would have been so fucked up. But, yeah. Awesome start. Smash cut to the team basically reporting to Kaya, who has breakfast tacos to them. What does the team feel about the mission, guys? Do you think, how do they report this fucking mission?
Went pretty well.
We did it!
We did it! We killed Alabaster! You're welcome!
Alabaster!
No, this is...
He was the most valuable member of this group! How dare you kill Alabaster!
I can't stand Takaya's face swap.
Eddie is on his fucking bullshit again. Like we said, there's not a moment's rest this episode.
Well, like Eddie literally will just swap how an NPC feels, depending on the scene, just to be on the opposite side of the players to make them feel like shit.
He will always do this. I don't remember his last episode when we decided this.
Like Takaya was ready to execute Alabaster.
Yeah, the viewers, you do not get the sense of this because we didn't really go into it too much. But the amount of in episode 3 of like fuck Alabaster coming from Takaya,
yes,
was like off the charts. He's like, let's fucking kill him.
He immediately was
his
like,
head on a fucking
spike. I hate Alabaster. I don't think you guys should bring him in here. They had to try and convince him not to arrest him, and even then he's like, no, we're arresting him. I guess we'll give him a nicer cell. Like, the entire time he's like, don't trust Alabaster. I hate this guy. I don't like him. He fucked the town over. Meanwhile, in canon, Alabaster is explained to basically have been a guy who had his hands tied the whole time because he's just he was the deputy who got put in charge after the last sheriff was killed for interfering with a gang. And he's just been doing his best to stop the gangs from overrunning the city completely and destroying it up till now. And he's basically been in a lose-lose situation. But no, Takaya fucking hates him. But the minute he's gone, Takaya's like, damn, we really could have used him, guys. Like, guys.
He really could have helped us put the city guard back together.
Guys, we could have used that. Just to fuck with them. Just insane.
I hate Eddie. Like, I don't know if we even need to say anything else, but for comedic effect.
Yeah.
Holy shit! What a psycho! What an actual psycho to literally. I mean, now that Alabaster is effectively dead, because he is just dead. Everybody, spoilers. Alabaster is dead. He does not show back up.
Don't lie to me.
He is dead.
I don't believe you.
Yeah. Well, Liam has his funny fan theories, but no, Alabaster is
I have my
just
theories.
Yeah, it's insane that Eddie does this. And like, we talk about how Eddie's a mean DM, and I know there might be a few of you who play who goes, guys, he like doesn't like kill his players. He like, how can he be that mean? These combat encounters are weird like slogs, but they're not like hard. They're like just annoying and awfully designed. But Eddie is constantly a DM, and we described this, I think, before, but I need to say it again, who's constantly doing little things to undermine any moment the players have to make it feel so they are never, like, doing great. They're always doing something fucking wrong and are being called idiots by someone. It's amazing. You don't have to pat your players on the ass, and you can challenge your players and have, like, reality of death be pretty harsh in a world when you play D&D. But that is like a more reasonable kind of DMing style, and one you could deal with better than Eddie just belligerently twisting things every time to fuck with them in little ways. It's like weird negging that he does 24/7, like Chinese water torture. And it's like, why do you do that to your players? Like, I would be more uncomfortable in this game than one where, like, I walk into a door, I fail a trap central, and my character's head gets cut off. Because at least it's, like, done and done. This is, like, I cannot catch a fucking break with this guy. What is his problem? Why does he need to do this so poorly?
Yeah, really.
Like, at least have the characters who are upset with this be justifiable and stay in character. Takaya should have said, oh, well, that was a pretty good trade for the artifacts, honestly. That probably solved more problems for us in the long run, honestly. And then they could be like, oh, I don't know about that. I just want to make it clear. The team doesn't respond like, oh, no, Alabaster. They don't. They literally like, yeah, whatever. Pike says like, yeah, it was great. It was fine. Like, no one cares about Alabaster except Takaya in this scene. Psychotic.
Literal psycho.
But here's the flip side. Mm-hmm. I think that maybe Eddie was like, well, I want to make my players feel something because I know they're going to be weird and just not care.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll make Takaya now weirdly care.
Yeah.
No, like, but I think if you just had Takaya just be the one to be like psychotic and be like, good riddance, that would make the players feel bad about their actions of leaving him to die.
I agree.
Eddie's just tiny brain.
Eddie is just an idiot.
Like, he didn't even at least give Alabaster or Takaya here like a moment of like, man, I gave him a lot of shit and he actually helped the whole time and then died. That maybe I was too hard on him or something like that. Like, no, he literally is just like immediately swapped before they get back. Once again, character development is just off screen and shit like this. Doesn't exist. Holy shit.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And then Carrie pulls out his little checklist.
Funny checklist joke. Yeah, go ahead.
There's 2 items on it. Get the magic items and save the city.
His quest log, if you will.
His epic quest log.
And he's like, all right, Takaya, what do we got to do to save the city? He's like, oh, no, I was going to ask you.
Very cool.
Our headmaster leader figure of the campaign, everyone.
Gale, what do we got to do to save Shade?
Okay, but listen, if Gale went, I don't know. It's funny, at least.
Well, yeah.
He got surprised if that was her answer.
Here's the thing.
He's a character at this point.
Yeah, if Gale did it, Gale has already shown competency in certain aspects. Like, so if she goes, oh, I don't fucking know, it's like, it tells you something more than like, what the fuck is this character's purpose?
It's just confusing every time we talk to him in a scene. Every time! And confusing enigma of nothing. On Liam's point, when Carrie's doing the little checklist thing, I don't remember if Eddie asks who it is, but this is what Blake's joke at the start was referencing, which I thought was very funny, where someone asks, is that Pike or Carrie talking? And Carrie just goes, yes, which admittedly is kind of funny, but you know that's literally always true also, and just, add support to more Psycho Pike moments that some people might say are jokes. So they're like, shit, we need help. And Asher's like, well, I guess I have my contact. And Pike just decides he forgot that he did this same questionnaire last time and found out in the last episode who Asher was talking about. So conveniently for you, the viewers, you get to hear the scene for the first time, even though we covered this already, but Carrie's helping you out here, where he asks him. Now, of course, how does Carrie seriously ask about something that last episode had been described as Asher being left shaken, unnerved, and very disturbed by hearing this, to the degree that it was so noticeable that his cold, confident disposition was broken? How does Pike, this guy's teammate, address this? He wants to go.
He pokes him in the tummy.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Okay.
He goes for a, quote, rolls for a Pillsbury Doughboy.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
You're on the floor.
Felix, you try to pathetically stop Claire from poking your belly.
I'm kicking you off the floor. He's not responding. Ben?
I gotta say, I didn't see that coming, and I should have, and I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
Got you, Felix.
What is he doing?
You roll. So here,
I forget Clara just doesn't have parents anymore for some reason, and I help the viewers out by asking her backstory again.
So Chad rolls, and in very Eddie fashion, since Chad rolls lower than Carrie because they're fucking fighting or some shit.
Yes.
He says, "Oh yeah, Chad, you try and swipe his hand away, but you just pathetically kind of wave your hand, going stop."
Jesus, man.
Literal character assassination shit.
Cool, awesome. Bad roll, dude. Carrie creeps up on him. Like a Rooster Teeth employee in an elementary school, comes up to him and starts poking a tummy, and it's described as Asher just being unable to stop this because he rolled a funny 1 on a contested poke roll. And I basically set Chad in the mood of this episode again, because once again, Eddie's just clowning on his own players. And, Chad looks towards Eddie as he says, Eddie, will you regale them with what I learned from the Taskmaster? Eddie, of course, just thinks he's smart and goes, is this because you forgot? And Chad just looks him in the eyes. You're damn right I did.
I fucking love Chad just literally talking back to Eddie, just being like, Eddie, just fucking tell them this stupid shit. Just go.
Yeah, he's like, I don't fucking care, Eddie. You can remind us, please. I want to remember myself. Did you forget? Yeah, Eddie, I fucking forgot. Why? What? Did you fucking think? Sorry, my tummy's being poked. I'm having a little bit trouble remembering things right now.
I'm just having a fun time,
Okay, so, this is probably I would say one of the worst things that happens in both seasons, because you're probably curious, because Chad is going to elaborate on his backstory now, and the way they decide to go about this is Eddie employs a flashback, a narrative device where he begins to describe the flashback over Asher's adult life, I guess I'd say, like post-graduation life. Because there is more details that are relevant that are revealed by Asher at one point in like a sub-flashback of this flashback, which is amazing. So just like, picture this. Instead of just like his character sitting down and talking to the chuckle fucks about it, Eddie is like, we're gonna do a flashback sequence for no fucking reason. And this is the worst decision fucking ever. I don't know if I have to tell you guys, this is generally not how you want to handle this. You generally want the players to talk in character.
Yes.
We beat this point to death. Characters should talk in character about meta details. These details, not in meta.
And this is probably... this isn't something I would probably even assume would ever happen unless I just saw it. Like, I would never assume someone would actually do this, where you are having a player in real time play out like their flashback.
See, I believe in this functionality of flashbacks. I've seen them used for fun effect of having a flashback and then role playing in it. But so we have a lot to unpack here, which is why I'm talking about this, because we have to start deciding where we fall in the camp of, is this... See, I'm in this camp of that this is a backstory that Chad had written up and he knows it. This isn't like the first time they put it together today. This isn't like we figured it out last time in between episodes and now we're going to act it out. This is clearly something he probably wrote beforehand. So it's very weird to go through a pre-written thing like that and act out scenes he probably summarized.
Yes.
Now, flashing back to a point in a character's life and having him roleplay then, I think it's acceptable. Like all things... Every time we have this conversation, I have to fucking do the same prefacing. But I need people to understand this. When I say something's bad, it's more like I'm saying it's a difficult thing to make sure you don't fuck up. Not even do right, to make sure you don't do something that fucks with them. Because going back in time and doing something like this, if you as the DM mishandle a detail in a character's backstory or make them kind of have the way this scene went in description be altered because you play it out for some reason, that's an incredibly dangerous thing to do, because you don't want to undermine the backstory of a player pre or post involvement of the character's backstory and like creation of the character. Before the game, the GM and the player should have a back and forth on the character's backstory, go over details they like and stuff, and air out any grievances or details they might want to change, or very early on in the game. That's like the session 0 people talk about. I don't think like you need a session 0. I think you just need to openly talk about the game before you run it for a few weeks, or just do the session 0 if you want. But that's like what a proper backstory discussion is. You generally don't want to like raw dog in the middle of the game go back and offer a point where it might be portrayed differently, because a player's backstory is the one large creative influence they have over the game. And that means not only is it sacred to them because they wrote it, obviously, it's sacred to their character because they're based off of it, but in a meta sense, it's the one input thing they have, and that matters a lot, because players can only do so much of a grand sweeping thing like that with their character without crazy like situations in game that allow them to do it. So the backstory is a big fucking deal for a person, and it is very bad as the DM to undermine it in a way the character or the player is not in agreement towards changing, maybe, and especially it has to be a detail that's definitely never been fucking talked about. Now, admittedly, none of this stuff has been directly covered in detail, so they have that reference and they're allowed to play around with that, sure, but as you will see as we regale you with this flashback, I do not ever recommend you do this. This isn't even you could do it well. Do not ever do this way of interacting with a character's backstory. This is a terrible, terrible fucking thing to do. So now that I've given my big warning preface, we can start breaking down details of what actually happens in this story and starting to talk about these details. Because as we've established in the past, Asher is actually the main fucking character of this game. He should have been the team leader, and he's the most involved with the situation in Kuchinashi. So, of course, his backstory is very relevant to a lot of details. And we're getting into a lot of important things. Dare I would say, there are some good things in here too. It's just a problem that Eddie has them by the reins. So, where do we immediately land before we cover this? I want to get a consensus right now, and we can change our opinions as we discuss. But how much of this backstory was all Chad, and what parts might be Eddie? Because I imagine there might be some submissions by Eddie, judging by how much, thought he put into this flashback. Because Eddie's definitely not going over Chad and ignoring his backstory like he does with fucking Phoenix.
So
loves Chad's backstory.
So, in my opinion, the broad strokes of the relationship angles between Chad and
Abigail.
God, I was forgetting her name. Abigail. I think are Chad's ideas, and I think Eddie keeps that pretty you can kind of see what Chad was going for, and I think that's his idea. Her and what she does, at least in the backstory element, is Chad, and I think Chad okayed the idea Eddie had, but I think Eddie's what she's currently doing is Eddie's idea, but I don't think that's a surprise to Chad.
Sure, yeah. Liam?
I think I agree. I think pretty much all of this is Chad's ideas. I think when it first started, he probably had someone might have backstabbed him, and then maybe in season 2 he's like, okay, it was this Abigail person, and he came up with this Abigail character.
Right.
I don't know how much of the character he really came up with, but I do agree that the interactions between them and their relationship, he probably gave his details to Eddie there, because I liked those parts, and I don't believe Eddie could make a character relationship with any characters, let alone a player character, be interesting or believable. And I'm sure the one thing I don't know Chad had much input on is she runs the Thieves Guild. I'm sure he's just she gained power or influence or something and left it general for Eddie, and Eddie's fuck it, she runs the Thieves Guild in Whiterun or whatever the fuck.
Ben, you fall anywhere out of line? Are you kind of up this tree with us?
I have to agree that I don't know. I think Eddie had a little bit more input than you give him credit for.
Do you have any idea of where it might have been specifically, or you're just assuming?
I mean, the Thieves Guild part is obvious.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because that is such an Eddie... I'll give Chad the benefit of the doubt. I think that the Thieves Guild was totally Eddie's idea, because Eddie's a fucking idiot. And he thinks, okay, so this one betrayed him. She gained influence. So did she become I don't know, sort of a not like a politician, but someone of high influence in the place, right? But no, she literally just runs the Thieves Guild now.
Yeah,
which is a gang that has never been mentioned.
The Harf is so secret; they're the super secret gang.
That's retarded.
We did go off on this rant last time how they introduced Abigail runs a organization known as the Harf, or she's also called the Harf. Eddie kind of bungles the explanation of that up, where these are basically the fourth gang with the city, if we're counting the fucking Takayas as a gang.
Yeah, so because we didn't have enough. Gang. We didn't have enough underdeveloped gangs in the fucking game already, so we had to introduce a new one.
And this Abigail character, I think, took a lot of energy away from Lemon. So I think I'm going to lay my cards in. I kind of agree with you guys, but I definitely think, Thieves Guild, I could see being Eddie. I definitely think basically everything was Chad, including so much so that I think Chad's creation of Abigail literally, made Eddie emotionally and possibly physically and intellectually erect, and he decided to take things he was going to have Lemon do and give it to Abigail since she was cooler. My immediate proof for that he definitely had everything to do with Abigail is that Abigail has a physical description. Eddie would never do that. I rest my case, Your Honor. Like, Abigail and Asher's relationship is very actually well considered, and there is no moment in this campaign, in this backstory, where this character randomly does something crazy and nonsensical. She's coherent all the way through. Dare I say, constructed in a way where you could understand their character development and could infer things, interestingly. Now, how much you're allowed to infer has been reined in by something, but we'll get into that. So, overall, we have to cover a lot of details here. So, luckily, the first episode sucked and was short. So, oh boy. Shall I begin listing off some details and everyone chime in? Or does anyone else want to do this? All right.
No, sure.
Yeah, all good, all good, good. So, Asher initially arrives at Kuchinashi after graduating from Shade Academy. Yes, I have this. Immediately, I have a really big question that's literally never answered. It only gets more confusing later on in this backstory, but I have no fucking idea why Asher Mora ends up in Kuchinashi. He was from Shade, went to Shade Academy, and somehow went to the center of Mistral, the most isolated town in the shittiest place ever, and the one place in Remnant where huntsmen are just mercenaries. This is very fucking contrived. I know you want to be in the city of the story, Chad. That was a good idea, but you didn't fucking do any legwork to explain it at all. Dude, what the fuck? Why is Asher here?
I really
To build an empire.
To build an empire.
Yeah, oh my god, that's it! That's what they would say! He didn't want to disappear like in Vacuo, he wanted to build an empire!
But Asher, so we get some characterization of Asher, and why he became a huntsman, because obviously that's where we start. Like, he went to Shade Academy, so he is from Vacuo. And, would you like to...
Well, sorry, I was just harping on this point of this Mistral's thing. I guess if you think it's done, I could shut up, but I just want to point out that, like, Sanus, as a continent, is the only one in Remnant where it's two kingdoms on one continent, Vale and Vacuo. So Asher decided, instead of doing the land transit route, that, like, the sea transit route was easier. Which I don't know if that's, like, intelligent or just not thought out. Intelligent Noah would explain that sea travel might unironically be safer, depending on Grimm variety and how fucked up you make the ocean in RWBY. And they basically said, like, there's a sea dragon, maybe sometimes lol. Or land travel, which is fucking Grimm everywhere, apparently. But it's still really weird to me that it would ship fucking continents. But hey, I don't know, man. I mean, it's not like, you know, he had money to afford transport anywhere. He's described as incredibly poor.
It's more of a lore question. You can go into more detail on if like, you know, people can have that discussion on which one would actually be safer, and there are probably arguments either way. So what was your point? Sorry, go ahead. Oh, I was gonna continue explaining his backstory.
Oh, if you want to, I could keep going.
I mean, you've been talking consistently for like 40 minutes, man. I thought someone else should pick up the slack.
I don't mind. You guys contribute with color commentary. I
mean, I guess
I'll pick it up. So he arrives at Kuchinashi looking for huntsman work. But he's not finding any, like, the good huntsman work that he was expecting, because, you know, this place is basically just for fucking mercenaries. And the huntsmen here just turn into mercenaries for some reason. It doesn't really make any sense, and he still hasn't explained it. But huntsmen are mercenaries here.
They literally just say they're, like, all blackguards. They just say there's only bad huntsman work here. Once again, why did you come here, Asher? Awesome.
So eventually he just starts taking, you know, more, darker jobs, or whatever you want to call it.
Oh, remember, he also prefaces here that he goes, despite what my roles in the campaign are like, Asher was a good thief, as he, like, looks directly in the camera angrily. Holy shit, that made me die.
Yeah. So he basically starts taking, like, thievery jobs for people, I guess. I don't know how you get thievery jobs. So, like, I guess there's, like, a...
Maven Blackbriar hired them to sneak into this.
No, Ben. Maven didn't hire him specifically. He never worked for any of the big gangs until the last one.
But he did have a boss at one point.
So he would have never worked for Maven Blackbriar until the end.
Really cool.
why did he have? Who was his boss? God, that's a fucking point.
Kaya, dude.
Some fucking guy.
Maybe these fucking gangs come and go like every fucking year. Like maybe the Wave Gang is just new.
That is described. The Wave Gang are new. The Hana are old, and I guess there's always room. I mean, Takaya's rose up, right?
Yeah.
I love him.
And then he's like, sometimes I do like assassination jobs, but like, only if the guy's a dick.
Cut to, and this is literally like barely done during the flashback, which kind of is weird. Cut to the table. So what are the general table opinions from the people there? Arostra Esper Blake, you're up. What does she say?
Barely anything.
Okay, she says Arostra doesn't care and isn't really surprised. Who says Pike? Who's got Pike?
I didn't take notes for this.
Pike nods solemnly. That's all he says.
That's it?
Oh, that's right. Phoenix, it doesn't describe a reaction at all. They just go on. Thank you, Chris. All right, back to the fucking... Thanks for the contributions! 3 other fucking players! They literally do nothing during this flashback. They don't give a fuck.
Speaking of doing nothing, I would like to bring up our segment that we definitely did last week, but unfortunately it was deleted and thrown into the void.
Yeah.
Laura didn't do anything in either of these 2 episodes without being prompted.
Laura didn't do fucking anything. She had no command. She needed command move point.
Leader, by the way.
Leader of BT Dubs. Someone literally calls her the leader. It's like, you should go first, Roster, and she doesn't respond. Fuck.
Right. Should be like, I'm important, right?
I got it, Liam?
Yeah.
Alright, yeah, so we have the classic, setup of Asher is on some job to vaguely pick up something. He's staking out a shop or something in a drop location. And he is supposed to go there and grab it. And of course, as most coincidental stories go, because Chad's read a lot of stories about thieves, someone else is going there to grab it, as he notices. So he's wrote a little nice story where Asher sneaks up on them, does a funny tap on the shoulder. They have a brief scuffle where they begin to interrogate each other a little bit. And he learns that this woman's called Abigail Pyre. She was not working for anyone like he is. And she is pretty, forthright and, aggressive about this sort of stuff. She is described as short, fiery redhead with dark eyes, 2 wicked daggers, and a flame tattoo on her collarbone. And we have the start of a great part of this awkward backstory, where this has been Eddie describing things up till now. This has not been Chad. And Eddie springs here that Abigail and Chad him and Chad are going to now roleplay Abigail in his first meeting in real time here. Which is insane to me, right?
Yeah.
This is something that it completely baffles me how you sit down to plan out how you integrate a character's backstory. You could either do it like you do with Phoenix and not at all and literally ignore him and step on him, or you could do it like Chad, which is if you were doing it like a human being and not a psychopath, where you'd make this character Abigail a central story figure with the current plot, like Eddie's choosing to do. You can do that. That's just fine.
That's good, in fact.
That is a good idea. Execution is whatever. We're ignoring that, but the idea is fine. And then you'd let the backstory elements come naturally from that. They're interacting with this character he knows. You go over with your player what the relationship's like before and then at current time, and then just kind of naturally go from there. And then details of that will just naturally come by hey Asher, who is this? And then Asher probably will explain some stuff, or maybe she will. And just details will naturally come from her being a part of the plot. Because,
obviously.
Because who the fuck is going to ignore that? They want to talk about it.
And it's also just, very confusing because, going back to my point where I said they roleplay things, this is not the scene to roleplay. This is, this is, if I wrote this backstory like I know Chad did, this is, one of the bullet point scenes I actually talk about. Like, you should do a scene, if you feel like doing this flashback role-playing thing, do one where they're on some small job that isn't gonna matter, maybe. And just to get a feel for how they interacted, as Asher's like, this is kind of like how we worked or something. Like, you don't want to take the scene of, I wouldn't think it would be proper to do a scene like Richard described in his backstory initially with Viridian, like how he met like Captain Thunder and stuff. So I wouldn't then like at one point have him role play that out. Probably like I'd let him regale that. Yeah. Maybe like the Blythe buddies even. Like maybe it'd be funny to do a scene where like you have a flashback where they recount like how they met them. But like those scenes with like important characters, it's so weird to actually RP them out unless they were left super vague in the person's backstory.
Like you said, it's very clear that like players only have so much that they directly get to influence, and backstory is like the biggest part that they directly get to have full control over. The DM okays it, but the players feel really good about what they made usually. So this is effectively robbing it because why? Like, okay, the party's never gonna ask anyway. But in a world, what like. The other players won't interestingly ask, like, oh, what do you mean by this? Unless they're, like, trying to roleplay it really hard. But, like, it takes out some of the actual interesting bits. If you show every part of this relationship up to the start till the end to all of the other players, and you don't give Chad any opportunity to ever talk about it without this just being shown. Like, the first thing they get to see about this character is basically the entire relationship as Chad knows it.
Yeah.
It's basically robbing them of interactions.
Like, I mean, if you're gonna do this, or you, like, want a scene, like, maybe, like, to show, like, the characterization of Abigail, which I can understand would be, like, a good purpose for, like, a roleplay scene in a flashback.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if it's this short, I'd say, like, fuck it. This is literally a show. You just script it.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be egregious. It is a backstory. It's literally supposed to be scripted.
Yeah, like, if this was the only scene, I wouldn't probably feel as hard as it, because this one feels relatively scripted, to a degree. Like, the back and forth seems natural enough in this first one. Not that they actually scripted, but if this was the only part they actually RP'd, I'd be like, that was weird, but understandable.
Yeah. See, I get the feeling, like, if you're going to do something like this, I'd always say, make sure, you don't have to, like, script it as in, like, write out exactly what's going on, but be very...
Well, I mean, you have the backstory in front of you. You should know what's going to happen.
Well, but before you do the scene, make it very clear that both parties are on the same page, because you wouldn't want to do something stupid, like add in some kind of random variable or random chance to his backstory scene, would you?
Anyways, not foreshadowing at all. So the details of this scene, they go into some vague details of like what the job situation is, which in the long run doesn't matter. But I would assume it's done to show these two negotiating a job very casually and quickly. And admittedly, the amount of chemistry they managed to have is pretty decent. I will say I actually don't hate Eddie's portrayal of Abigail since in this entire sequence. I think she's pretty decent. She's the most character I've seen in this game, and I assume that's because Chad put care into making this, and is intentionally made a character that then also gels well with Asher and is pre-described things. Like, to the point where it's like Asher, Mora, and Abigail Pyre. Ash and Pyre. Like, you get, like, there's a lot in here.
I didn't see that, bro.
I would say I agree with you in a general sense of, like, compared to all the other characters, it's obvious that Eddie, like, is playing Abigail better, and that has mostly to do with the fact that Chad had an idea that he actually probably dictated to Eddie.
I like Abigail, yeah.
No, Abigail's fine. Yeah. The only problem I have, it's not even really with her, it's just that, like, okay. I hate the way Eddie plays a lot of, like, the type of scene where, like, he's having a character do anything at all that's, like, against the players. Because, like, this is, I'm not going to describe the scene in detail, but it's like, character talks, character pauses, character looks away, and characters like, I'm sorry. Yeah. Like, I hate the way Eddie shows, like, very little emotion in those scenes.
I'm going to be a hard disagree, and I really don't want... I'm going to talk about this scene a lot, because I think that was actually a really good scene.
Fair enough, then.
I will explain myself, because I think this is the most actual decent portrayal of a character, because... but through this first exchange, Abigail and Asher's, like, as calm and sort of cocky as he is at the start of the game, but with less, like, psychoticness in him, as he's just acting like a professional. And Abigail's, like, you get immediately the sense where Abigail starts going off about, like, okay, Asher, like, this guy's trying to undercut me. I don't actually have a boss. I run my own little crew here and stuff. Like, you don't want to get fucked around with, right? And, like, Asher is immediately getting, like, pulled in by Abigail, because she's, like, the feisty redhead who's an up-and-comer on her own. And it's fun to see Asher, because he's this, like, sarcastic, sort of, like, sharpenish guy. But he's clearly like, I dig this. And she manages to convince him that, fuck your current boss. I will give you a pretty good fucking deal. He's gonna undercut you. And I think, like, a guy like you, a competent, like, thief, someone who could sneak up on me, which I thought was pretty funny, is like, I could use someone like you around. And you're like, alright. And Asher's kind of, like, pulled in by this idea. And then he's like, I'm gonna keep my eye on this contraband until we get there and you actually pay me. But he's going along with it. Like, he's not, like, cooming immediately, but you see that he's like, yeah, I can dig this. And he keeps his guard up, but there is this sort of like, he's not fallen immediately, but you see between the rapport of them, you're like, oh, okay, this is cool. Yeah. Sorry, Liam, what are you saying?
Yeah, and I like the back and forth in this scene because there's actual like chemistry between characters because it was like, you know, scripted-ish. You know, it's pre-written. Like, you know, she's like, oh, we'll split it 60-40. He's like, all right, I'll get 60. And, you know, they go back and forth. And it's good. It's good characterization.
Because Chad knows this character will work well with him, and Eddie's not completely fucking up his idea for this character. And the scene ends with a very good trope that I like, which is she's like, you know what? She's like, as the final conviction, if you're going to actually join me, like, here, let's flip a coin on this. And he does the coin flip, and it cuts before you see the landing, and it's just implied. And you're like, okay, cool. I think that's it's a classic trope, the sort of, let's flip a coin on it, funny meeting of fate. Like, very... put in a lot of things you've seen before, but I really like together because Chad clearly likes these sort of like criminal, like underdog, scruffy people teaming up in a match of fate in a tragic story like this. Like, you can really feel how much Chad gets into this from his backstory.
Yeah, I got on my notes. Fading out on the coin flip was pretty Kino.
Yeah,
I could see that like literally like
they do
cinematically in like a flashback scene happening like in like RWBY or whatever. I'm like, I like it. It's cool.
Yeah, they put in a little sound effect and they're trying to make it cinematic. I'm like, yeah, this scene is weird, but like they're doing okay so far. Eddie goes back to like summarizing, saying we learned more about Abby and the time they're spending together and like how they're starting to work. Let's see. They start to talk about how like Asher and Abby work really fucking well together because despite her being kind of like distant on some details about herself and things, Asher's really good at like actual like stealth and executing the plans. Abigail has like big fucking plans in a quick mouth and knows how to talk her way out of things, and they're both really fucking good in combat together. So they're filling in each other's weaknesses is what Eddie describes it as. And let me see. They talk about that at one point they come back after a big operation at a bar together. One more detail I want to say is he describes Abby's weapons, the daggers. They are two daggers that have gravity dust that can go between each other. It's just life and death, but daggers. It's just Carmine's weapons from the book, but with her semblance being dust. It's why can't you guys come up with an original weapon? Fucking kill me. Jesus Christ. Little note of detail there. Come on, Chad. But I think he wanted the weapons to be similar to each other, and he had two daggers, so he just said, fuck it, I'm lazy. And he notes that Abigail is also, like, really ready to kill people. So you get this idea that, like, Abigail's really intense. And is, like, kind of, like, distant, and you're like, okay. But they bounce off each other well. We come to this bar scene, and I like this bar scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone have anything to say, like, encounter, or are we, like, all kind of vibing? Like, this backstory is weird.
I have to agree with you that, and I will say that it might be because the rest of the show is such shit.
Yes.
Yeah, Asher is the best character, frankly. He has an actual backstory that will be elaborated on besides, I need to find the White Fang. Which Eddie thinks is so stupid. Which is so base of him. I love when DMs just say you're back. I love when they don't go, it's kind of cringe. They go, yeah, we'll work on it.
They say yes, but they never do anything.
Yeah, very cool.
Awesome.
Very
fucking
cool.
What a good move.
Yeah, have fun with your ranger, Ben.
Liam, here's the thing. I was about to make a Liam joke, but I held back. Guess one's stronger than the other, huh?
Oh.
Get out of here, you.
So yeah, in this dive scene, we go back to the meme question, admittably. But to be fair, in the context of at a dive bar drinking after something, just kind of relaxing after doing something really successful, it makes a bit more context sense. I mean, the kid did too, but it's a little forced. Where Abigail's like, okay, Asher, like, at this point, like, I want to know, why did you become, like, a huntsman? Like, what's the deal with that? And I find it very funny, because Chad does something correct here, but he does it in a very funny way, where he goes, oh, I'm not going to tell this part to Team Sapphire, but you know what? I'm still going to say it, because I don't want this to not be in here. Holy shit, a player finally just allowed meta information to exist. To which Carrie and Chris immediately both autistically are like, we're going to take our headphones off. Should we be hearing this shit? Awesome, guys.
That's a Liam joke.
See, I think it's
was
a
that
joke,
bad? I was muted. I
don't
couldn't hear
you. But basically he relays a quick summary of his story, which is why he talked about earlier. This is like a flashback in a flashback. A little fucking weird, Eddie, but okay. He talks about that Asher is, he's from Vacuo. And that originally his parents were killed by Grimm. And he got this, like, fucking angry spirit in his heart, like, fuck, I hate Grimm. And his Varation tribe, or village, basically raised him collectively, like, bouncing him around between different families and stuff. In a way, it's not, like, described as, like, bounced around, like, oh, I was stuck in the fucking child care system. It's like, no, he stayed around at different places in the village, and they looked after him and taught him shit. And, he decided later to become a huntsman because he wanted to get back at Grimm, but he also kind of wanted to do good by his family and do something out of this, and do good by his hometown. So he's like, being a huntsman pays well. I want to kill Grimm. They destroyed my life to a degree. So I'll become a huntsman, and I'm going to get money, and I'm going to send it back to all these people in the town because they helped me when I literally had nothing. So, like, Chad delivers the sort of context thing you put into a lot of edgy characters to give them a little more soul. And how do you guys feel about this? Because I put down my notes that this is kind of simple and, like, a really easy thing to do. You could call it cheap a little bit because this is like something you could easily tack on to something. But I personally found it didn't like go, I didn't roll my eyes because I kind of liked the way like Chad was actually delivering the story in this scene to Abby. Because he's not doing a meta dump like Eddie does. He's having Asher talk about this. And the way Asher kind of explains it and like talks, you're kind of like, yeah, no, Chad's putting effort into this to make it sound like, this is really something that means a lot to his character. And like, while it's easy to throw it on there, it's kind of, it works out. And as I put down, it's easy to kind of understand why he's such like a psycho and willing to kill people for money and stuff in here, because he is a Varation, and that's literally their culture. So, that's fine, right? I mean, that's Graydon's excuse. What do you guys think about this little detail of his backstory? Because I think it's the most standout one, because it's an extra bit.
Yeah, I like his backstory, and I like his delivery enough to, I agree. His delivery of it was, like, believable to where, like, he's not a psychopath. He's like, I get money and send it back to my family, and that makes it okay. It's just like, no, I mean, he you really feel that, like, he has a reason.
Yeah. you're right. He doesn't make like any attempt to ever justify himself, which is good. Which is coherent. Like Asher doesn't ever go, "It's for them, dude. I do all this bad stuff." He just says it.
I do it so I'll one day find my little pyre.
I don't have any problems with it.
Yeah, so, and it's definitely more, I think it's definitely way more than anyone else did, because Chad did give himself, like, the double backstory, which I think is good a lot of the time to have a character kind of have some layered elements. I think, like, most of Supernova had that thing where it's, like, they have separate little sections of their backstory, where, it's like, Clara has, like, before Village accident, then after that in Atlas, or Mantle, I mean, Felix has, like, Slave, then with his master. Gwen had growing up as a kid and getting her complex and then actually going to the academy. Brian has, like, Home, Thunder, and then Black Buddies. Like, I like these sorts of things when I do DM. I like to see people kind of do layered stories if we're not going, like, super vague for interpretation. I think that lends pretty well.
It does make me curious, like, because I don't for a second think Arastra or Pike have anything.
Right?
But I am curious, does Phoenix have anything and Eddie literally just doesn't give a fuck?
Yeah.
Like, that's the only one I believe it would have, like, anything be like, comparable to Asher. Because the other two are jokes. Like, Arastra is a minor. Sure. Why is she a psychopath?
We still have that one weird detail where, like, Pike had, like, something really fucked up happening and left the school because of his
that's literally, like, they don't know what that is. And if it's anything later, that's them making something up later.
I'm really gonna love to hear what they come up with for it.
I do not for a second believe they knew at time of saying that what the fuck that was.
No, I'm with you on that. And I think Phoenix must have something, because remember early on he did the list, Faunus, and I think he must have something of comparable, like, detail, probably, because he seemed pretty, like, it makes that the way he talks about that makes me think he probably thought of shit for both of his parents.
He was taking the initiative to try and find the White Fang until Eddie
I think
stomped
I have
him
what
down.
his backstory is.
Okay.
I think that he might have, like, his parents might have owned a diner, right? And then
God damn it! I thought you were gonna say something. Fuck.
That is so based. Oh fuck. Hey guys, viewers, get excited for when we do
Diner Dash.
Get excited for when we do actual RWBY, like, roleplay characters like Nox, but for, like, game summaries. Because if I can find some of these old ones, I'll throw them in, like Ben's referencing right now. But I have seen some amazing ones on Roll20.
I love puppets.
Psycho Diner Faunus kid was one of my favorites.
Great character.
He was in the same batch as my father's classic Elephant Sun shirt.
We are... No, we are going to have to do deep dive on them, but also Puppet Man. Puppet Man is the best one.
Don't ruin Puppet Man.
Don't bring him up.
I won't talk anymore on him. I'm just gonna say he has to be.
Dox me. He's got powers.
He has to be like the first one we talk about when we start doing those characters.
We'll see. There's a lot we can do with him because we have a lot of material. That would be a Nox episode. Yeah, definitely. But he's definitely going to be covered at one point. Everyone get excited. But sorry for taking us so far away from the backstory for a little bit. So after that moment where he explains all of that, Eddie, like, describes how, like, Abby's kind of listening along. And, like, him being so open and honest about this, like, gives Abigail this moment where she kind of lowers her, like, guard a little bit. And has this really honest moment where she talks to Asher, who up till now she's always kept this little, like, curtain between them. It's kind of described as being a little secretive and stuff, where she explains that, like, the reason that she got so into this line of work is that her father got in debt with the wrong people and they, like, killed him for it. And she got this, like, anger over that, and she's gonna be like, I'm gonna fucking make them pay also. I'm gonna fucking kill them. I'll do anything to get there. I need that. And, like, Eddie notes that, like, he sees this sort of, like, intensity and, like, vulnerability with, like, honesty in her eyes and stuff. And it's, like, this nice moment where it's like, oh, wow, Asher's actually broke down this person, and she's broke down Asher a bit. They've actually, like, confided in each other a little bit. And, this scene ends with something I've decided I really don't understand how Eddie came up with this. This is like the broken clock syndrome with this entire backstory in some moments, where he does the great, an amazing move, unironically, where Abigail at the end of the scene, after they have this heart-to-heart talk, is described to slide Asher's scroll to him and say she put the drinks on his tab. Linking back to the joke about Asher taking Phoenix's scroll and implying that this is where Asher picked that whole routine up from. Like, Abigail did this to Asher. And you're like, oh, fuck! That's, like, actually really clever and kind of, like, really weirdly poignant, Eddie. And you're like, what the fuck, Eddie? Where did this come from? Like, I literally wrote down here, this is so out of place. Because I have to assume Chad must have come up with this. Because I don't want to give Eddie the credit for that. But if he did, I mean, kudos.
I actually am going to say I am more in the camp that Chad did it initially back then, and Eddie did it now by his own volition. I do not think that Chad pointed out that Eddie should do that here.
Okay. Yeah, well, you guys think
I don't know. The thing is, I know for a fact that this backstory written by Chad is like the final version that we're seeing now is like his second pass.
Right.
Like they did season 1, and then he came back on like, you know, there's a mystery of why I got kicked out of the bar and why I was in this town before. Mm-hmm. And then I think Chad is clever enough to think of this idea, specifically because they're at a bar and this is like a thing he thinks of to do in bar scenes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give the credit to Chad, but you know, maybe Eddie's big fucking brain.
Maybe. Ben, where do you fall?
I'm going to say that I think, in regards to the last, like, you know, the tab thing, I think that was Eddie. I'm gonna give Eddie on this one.
The reason I think that is because I think it's a very nice callback, but because I think specifically it is a callback and not like an arranged thing, it makes me more believe that it's just the DM just doing a callback to like a small little player interaction thing that was pretty nice. Because I think it would be a little strange to be like, okay, yeah, we'll have this scene in a bar. Eddie, can you, like, do the thing where she takes my drink? Because, like, I don't think it's that important. It's a nice little interaction, but that's why I think it's... But I don't think it's, like, the type of thing a player would literally point out and ask a GM to do.
I would say I would have put in my backstories, that's where you learn tricks like the phone thing from this character, and then Eddie would have implemented it.
I don't think Chad would do that.
I'm still in the camp. I can't believe Eddie come up with something that was quality, because I know everything he touches is shit. So I just don't believe it, personally. It's literally, I have no better proof. I'm just literally fucking saying Eddie Rivers is really fucking bad at things like this, and understanding a character and following through on consistent character details is not in his fucking wheelhouse, in my opinion. But you guys might be right. I'm with Liam, though, so we can go on an even...
Head writer of RWBY, ladies and gentlemen.
When I say this, I'm literally just going broken clock, like, on this, being like, he just happened to have done something.
I know, yeah.
Eddie's not like a mastermind. He just happened to do something that's pretty nice.
Yeah, I know you're not saying it's a mastermind.
It's okay. He'll ruin any goodwill I have in a moment.
If he came up with it. Then Eddie does something that I thought was... this is a really interesting detail. I love that Asher then hears over time that Abby gives out this story with variations to other people, and that's like a fun detail that Asher threw in there. And clearly, it's like not the story he got was the real one from actions she takes later on.
Yes, it is. It is very obvious that Asher gets the real story, and it's just a nice character detail that she says fake versions to other people because, you know, she's not open to people, but it's a good character thing. It's a shame what happens.
However, in this moment, Eddie proposes to Chad, like, do you think Asher believed her story to him was genuine, or if this was another, like, variant just she gave out.
Now, I do want to say this actually isn't the moment. This happens in the middle of the next scene.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Oh, okay.
When he's making the decision, he says, "Oh, do I think?" Like he says, I think he's just thinking out loud. Do I think that what she said was the real one?
Yeah. That he specifically
He
says
prompts Eddie for it. Unfortunately,
He calls Eddie out on taking him up on just saying that, like being like, Eddie, are you fucking for real? If I just didn't say that, you wouldn't do it.
Yeah, he says, do I see that look in her eye? Is it her? And then he flashes his ghoulish grin. And he asks for an insight roll in his backstory. Okay. Oh my god, Eddie! Okay, so before we go off, Chad rolls a 1, but it doesn't matter if you rolled a 200, because why would you ever do this? Please go ahead, boys.
Okay, I'm in physical pain when I hear him do this. So, just ignore the fucking 1 that Eddie's literally having an orgasm over because a player rolled bad. I get to fucking step on them. It's even worse that it's in a fucking backstory. But
Eddie,
it's
quote, "Oh man, and write in your backstory too."
I know. I can't fucking believe.
Fucking psychopath.
It makes me shake and seethe. The fact that Eddie would ever fucking make someone roll during their fucking backstory in a predetermined segment. It's fucking... It's so... I guess permanently Asher just fucked that up and, was just a bitch and didn't notice things about this character that he's really close to. It's so fucking bizarre because... If you were doing a scene like this, and I agree with what Noah said before, which is I'm not opposed to the idea of doing this abstract, being I'm going to roleplay a very short scene of someone's backstory with them. I think that can be done. It needs to be very you need to go over it with the player, obviously, Jesus Christ. But you can do that. The idea is not inherently unfeasible. Eddie being in control makes it completely unfeasible because he'll do this. He'll make you roll. So Asher rolls a 1. Man, that sucks. And you can just see the look in his eyes. He's so fucking angry.
Chad is fucking pissed.
Chad is so fucking pissed that Eddie did this to him.
He is losing it.
It's right, Eddie. What the fuck? You were gonna. Just give it to me, and then you made me roll.
Rightfully so.
You were 1 word away, and you were going to tell me, and then you made me roll. What the fuck, Eddie?
This is literally a moment where I would just ask my DM to pause, so I can just be like, what the fuck are you doing? Why would you do that?
It's so...
See...
fucking... awful. This isn't the last skill roll. There's more down the line.
It's cool. Not. And here's what fucks me up. Because this is like a betrayal. This is literally your DM betraying you. Because I'm assured, by the way this was going before this, is that Eddie and Chad talked about what this segment would be like, what they would do, what scenes from Chad's backstory they'd want to show, and how it would go generally. And I bet they both walked away from that being like, okay, yeah, I'm feeling this. I like this. Let's do it. And then get into it. And Eddie, with the ghoulish grin, gets behind Chad and just plunges the knife into his back. Goes, skill check. It makes me so fucking angry.
On the other hand, I'm pretty sure Chad was just okay, that was cringe, Eddie. I'm gonna take it as, yeah, of course my character's intelligent and knows that she told me the real backstory. This is my backstory. Fuck you, Eddie. I'm gonna roleplay like I rolled a fucking 20. Eat a dick.
Basically, yes. Which is good. Good work. Please don't be bullied into this, Chad. Don't let that fucking happen to you. That's psychotic. If a GM ever does this to you in a game, tell them to fuck off, guys. Do not let your GM literally shit on, your one... input device thing of your backstory.
And I would like to say, I hated this so much, I didn't even come up with a funny Felix segment for it. It made me that mad. I couldn't even joke about it. I couldn't even joke that Ben would be in this position.
Good. This isn't a
Liam,
laughing
anything's
matter.
possible. Sorry, I couldn't resist that time.
Nice.
Ben, what do you think about this segment?
I think it's awful. I think this is just peak Eddie. I mean, it's peak funny Eddie, where he thinks pogging to his players losing out on backstory information is cool.
I'm writing your backstory.
Right, literally plunges a knife named Skill Check and says, "Write in your backstory."
It's just he just said it and then laughed. Like I still can't believe that's a literal quote of "write in your backstory" too. Like he sounds gleeful. Like
he is.
Ooh, damn man, that sucks voice, but he's definitely not. It's definitely like, oh, write your backstory. Isn't that funny?
But I hate how fucking Eddie is willing to laugh when players are legitimately fucking upset. Like, Jesus, it doesn't help anything, Eddie.
It is really sad, because up until this moment, I was really enjoying the backstory.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what, this is going pretty well. Everything's going pretty decent. This is better than most episodes.
Yes.
Because half the characters that I hate are out of the fucking series for this moment.
Yeah, once again, quick reminder, Peanut Gallery's just quiet. We haven't gone back to them in a while.
No, I paid attention to what they said when it's all done. Don't worry.
Oh, yeah, Sam, it's awesome.
Don't worry, I noted that down.
But yes, exactly. Continue, I'm sorry.
I guess we can move on to what actually happens to incite this role.
Right.
We kind of didn't really get into it.
Oh no, this one was on the this one was on him asking about the like. There were two roles, Liam. Remember, there was more role. There wasn't just one. This was like about the questioning if she believes her or not. But what happens then? The next scene we come in on is Abby like waking him up in like the middle of the night and being like, "Come here, you gotta come with me." And he like follows her through the hedges. And she's like, "I need you to like be my lookout. I've got someone I need to ambush." He's like, "Okay." And it's described that Abby normally kind of like fucks around and like finesses people when she's trying to do this shit. Not like just direct, like because she's like street smart. She's quick talker. She doesn't need to. But it's described as Abigail literally like fucking immediately viciously attacks this guy and is going to fucking like stab him to death. Like she's like cutting him up. And so Asher, of course, runs over and is like, "Okay, what the fuck is happening?" And Abby reveals that this guy is involved with her father's debt, one of the people that needs to pay. And Asher, of course, is like, "Oh, okay." He like kicks him and is like, "All right, so like what's going on?" The guy like says he's ignorant to literally any reason this is happening. And Abby gets a little testy saying like, "Asher, don't you fucking with this." And he's like, "Well, we should like get information." He's like, "Asher, I literally have all the information I need. This is literally the reward. Is fucking killing this guy. Stop, fuck off. I told you to go guard." And he's like, and he's like, "What would Asher do here?" I mean, we know what the answer is, right, Eddie? You don't. This isn't an actual question, right, Eddie?
Well, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought this was the point where he says, "Does Asher think back? What did he think about her back?" I thought this was the moment where he asked if her backstory was true.
Is he randomly goes, "Can I like do a perception roll?" Yeah, sure. You got 19. You look around and no one's around, and you can just see Chad's face like, "Oh, I fucking met Eddie, but okay." And he just goes with making his decision without really complaining about it because he's totally tilted that he rolled a 19 and Eddie gave him nothing he wanted.
Well, to be fair, he was retarded and asked for a perception roll.
It's his own fault.
He verbatim says, "Can I roll perception?" For no reason.
When has Eddie ever fucking given the right thing for this situation, to be fair?
I know, but he could have said, "Eddie, can I like look at her and like see like how she's feeling?" Because I think that's what he meant.
Yes, he's like, "I want to look at this. I want to insight to know if this guy actually doesn't know anything or not, or whatever." Like, basically, he wanted to assess the situation. Investigation or insight should have been the role. Eddie didn't correct him. He let him make his mistake. He ghoulish grinned. Awesome. Anyway, he's like, "What are you gonna do, Asher?" And Asher's like, And Chad's just like, well, yeah, Asher fucking turns away. He's like, yeah, of course you can. He's like, yeah, oh, you got everything? Yeah, go for it. I don't care. Sorry, buddy. You should have fucked with her. You should have fucking done that. Like, Asher, of course, doesn't care. He's like, yeah, of course I'm for you killing him.
This is why I think this is cringe. Not the situation and not Asher, but Eddie, in that I think he's not exact. I think that part probably caught him off guard a bit. That's why he prompted it a couple times to see what Asher would do.
So weird that he would, though.
Well, yeah, no, this is what I'm... Well, like, we see this throughout the campaign with Eddie and his moral dilemmas, is that he seems to be not completely sure that the players are actually psychopaths. Or at least, like, they're not the type that will literally... They're not bleeding hearts. Asher likes Abigail, and Asher has already shown very willingly and very upfront that he does not have a problem with killing people who are, like, scummy.
Bad.
Like this,
he admitted his morals have degraded, and this guy is involved with his best friend's dad's death.
Abigail was like, I want to kill this guy. He is part of the reason my dad died, and this is and Asher's is like, yeah, well, fucking sucks for you, pal.
And it's not like Abigail's some virginal warrior who has yet to bloody her hands, and this would be going too far. Abigail's killed plenty of people by now.
Yeah, like this is a response from Asher that I think makes complete sense. This is what I'd say he would do if you asked me. Like it makes sense for me, and that's why I'm fucked up, because I do believe, at least somewhat, Eddie wasn't exactly like confident in that. He would be like, yeah, this is like where he's gonna be like, hey, Abby, I think it was like going a bit far. You know, maybe we like don't slit his throat. And it's like, no, of course Asher's gonna say, yeah, fucking sucks for you, buddy, and just let her do it. But like,
yeah,
and the reason I'm confident it's like this is because if you look back through the campaign, like Eddie seems to get like this very, very often, where like he just isn't completely prepared for what players will do, and I think that's mostly on him, because I think after the beginning, I think the players show like kind of their tendencies pretty clearly, like of like what they're kind of like, and what they're like is murder hobos. Like Rostra is a psychopath, but I think she's consistently kind of a psychopath.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why I think it's just like, Eddie, why the fuck would you even... Why would it even seem like a prompt of, like, a choice? We all know how this is gonna go. Why don't you?
Yeah, so I presume, like, if this was part of the backstory that Asher did it, or Chris didn't write, this would be... Or Chad didn't write, this would be one of them, but who knows. Yeah, anyway, so he's just like, yeah, whatever. Abby basically goes... you know, AWOL for a little bit, like, he doesn't hear from her for a while, and eventually she comes back, and she's, like, seems normal again, she doesn't seem as fucked up, like, you know, she seemed pretty emotionally, like, you know, in her own head after all of that, comes back eventually after, like, 3 weeks, and is just, like, acting like she's fine again. She's like, alright, Asher, big fucking job, gonna rob the Hannah Guild. Or not rob it, we're gonna work for the Hannah Guild to get something. Asher's like, sure, yeah, okay. They go to Nobleman, they steal shit. Asher doesn't, specifically here, doesn't see what was stolen. A job for the Hannah Guild, a nobleman, an item we didn't see was stolen. Now, were any of you actually smart enough to understand what item this is?
It's his staff, right?
This is our guy, Mr. Pastel's manor, and they have stolen the... Now, that doesn't make sense, but they have stolen the magic necklace.
That makes no fucking sense.
Guild. Now, very poignant. This is clearly not directly said, but it's clearly something that is implied by the actions here, right?
Yeah.
This is clearly what is they are saying. Eddie, like, unless you unironically really, like, fucked this line up and just by accidentally alluded to like something incredibly similar to Javi Pastel's, like the robbery of Javi Pastel's like magic amulet and eventual like murder of him, like you this is really weirdly coincidental. with the setup. Because this is leading into later Abigail deciding to fuck with the Hannah gang and not deliver upon this mission, as we will get into. And this is a very interesting note that Eddie was very subtle about, that it's never explicitly said, that then implies that Asher's retarded because he should know the layout of the manor when they go there. So if that's actually what Eddie was talking about, huge plot hole there. Amazingly big plot hole.
Say, are we not going to talk about the other plot hole that this creates?
Oh, well, which one? Sorry.
Because when they're in the manor, or maybe when they're... I forget. At one point, we hear, like, a fucking... We hear something from Javi Purcell who found this necklace, right?
Yes.
Like,
we do.
It kind of sounded like it was recent that he found it.
Yeah.
Crazy? Like, it really felt like it's a recent thing that he found.
No, I believe, if I'm recalling right, it was a while ago when this happened. Because remember, the facility's been in disrepair for a while. I remember this having happened in the past. I remember one of the details on one was weird is that the necklace has been around for a while. It's why the Wave have been doing so well, is because they then acquired the necklace. That's the whole setup. Like, this happened a while ago. The whole necklace robbery was a while ago. That's not fucking with it. That is correct.
Okay.
No, yeah. I remember we talked about that, I think, in the last episode. I did weird time frame on that. Yeah, so unless he had more manners, huge fuck up there. But he left himself with enough vagueness they could always just say, it's just coincidence, lol, even though it's literally the story. No one says this in the episode. I can't remember if this is ever actually talked about later in the campaign, but if you're intelligent, you can put that together there. Kind of good. I like when people don't explicitly say something, except they fuck themselves up over it. But yeah, Asher coincidentally never sees what was stolen. Haha, very funny. Abigail allows him to actually see where she stashes stuff, which he's surprised by because she's very secret about these things. And they start discussing the plan for how he's going to meet and trade off this item. It's go to Skillful. And hilariously, Abigail says, you've got to go deliver this because I can't get into Skillful because I'm not a huntsman. Eddie, shut the fuck up. What the fuck do you mean? Eddie, you put so much work in establishing it doesn't fucking matter. He's literally delivering it to Hannah gang members. They aren't huntsmen either. What the fuck?
One of them was a former huntsman, the other one killed one.
Based. Awesome. Awesome. Thoughts, anyone? Is that
not act like the Skillful makes any sense?
Yeah, let's move
on.
Yeah, let's not go into the spiral, please.
Okay.
Let's not even get into the fact that he didn't have to solve a riddle during this flashback.
Oh my god, yeah. Okay. So, now, I'm clowning on this scene because it did a lot of retarded shit, but I think the scene, in detail is horrible, but in characterization is very good, because Abigail is being played, because Eddie's playing her, this is like a scene between them, in a very different way, noticeably. Because Abigail is like kind of like weirdly, immediately like nostalgic, and it's kind of like, it's surprising from her, and it puts you on unease, because you know the like, Asher is getting close to the part where he gets fucked over. And Abby begins to explain to Asher that, you know, she has intent to form a little empire, haha, looks at opening thing, like the other people in the city have done. She doesn't want to be fucked with anymore. She didn't like what happened to her father. She doesn't want that to happen again to her. And she'd really like to continue to do that. And she's like showing him like how she opens her stash and stuff. And she's talking to Asher in this really like kind of like open way, shockingly. She does I really like the part where she's kind of awkwardly like the whole thing is awkward in like a correct way. Because Abigail is clearly torn up about how she's about to fuck over Asher. And she's doing this story where she's like, remember that first time we met, like referencing the first scene, like where I talked about the money, like, no, I did stiff you on what you would have made from the guy. I kind of fucked you up. I'm sorry about that. That was That was kind of fucked up with me. And it's like this weird moment where she's like apologizing for this, and you're like, oh man, she's like doing the like half apology thing because she's trying to figure out a way to apologize for what she's doing to Asher. She feels like a lot of guilt, but she's talking about like, I need to build this empire, I need to do this, as she's basically trying to justify her actions to herself and Asher without him realizing it. Which is probably even more painful for her when Asher ends the scene, which, good work, Chad, on thinking of this line where he's like, hey, when you guys do all that, just remember who helped you get there in the first place. And she goes, I will. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Damn, that's really actually good. Like, that's pretty fucked. Like, to make Abby still do all this fucked up stuff, but at least give her a scene to see him a little more human, while not giving her any excuse to betray her closest friend to be a fall guy so she can make a power play, at least makes you like see her as like a character. And I think that scene is very well done, and I'm proud of Chad for writing it that way. And I have to say, even if Eddie had no creative input, he still role-played the character correctly in this scene. So I don't know what the fuck's Eddie's problem. I thought he did a good job.
Yeah, I like the scene. I don't really have anything to say.
I kind of went off on it, so I'd be surprised if he did. Sorry.
I have to agree with you. I think the scene is very well done.
I think he got lucky.
I don't think any of us would deny that. I think he was given really good material, right?
No. Well, yes, but how I mean that is, I think Chad laid it out well, and I think Eddie's natural tendencies of playing characters in playing characters in non-jokey situations just happened to line up with portraying this one properly.
Yeah.
And so I do not want to give any credit to Eddie. I just think his awkward delivery on what he's supposed to be saying, like a character's trying to get across, just happened to be the perfect angle for portraying a character like Abigail being awkward about what she's doing and kind of being a bit weird.
Yeah.
When a character like Takaya talks like this, it makes you just wonder what the fuck's going on. When a character like Abigail talks like this, in the same kind of cadence and delivery, it actually is more, it fits, so it's fine. But I think that's just generally how Eddie talks in these kind of scenes. And
maybe.
It's just fortunate that it lined up.
No, I think there's probably some truth in there. I genuinely think he's probably just working better because he has a pseudo script and can kind of understand this. I think Eddie doesn't put anywhere near the thought that Abigail got put into her in a backstory, obviously, into any of these NPCs, because to him they don't really matter. But I think you can tell that Eddie really likes Abigail as an idea, and that's why he got so into this and was able to portray it. Because even players or DMs who aren't super good, when they have an idea they're very passionate about, it comes out very genuinely a lot of the time. Because if someone's invested in something, they normally want it to be cool for others. Unless anyone has any other thoughts on how this ended up good, we can kind of wrap up the actual story segment because it's coming to its end pretty quickly here. So Eddie goes to the Skillful, do this handoff with the Hannah Guild members. Obviously, the handoff of his safe that they're giving him the contents is just not there. And they are like, you're trying to fuck with us. And he looks for his scroll, and it's also missing. And before he can really calm them down or anything, a huge fight breaks out. The one that Opal hinted at. It's why she has the no violence policy at her bar just now, apparently. This is also, quote, a legendary event that happened at the Skillful that everyone in the place knows about, which is really funny. Like, people talk about how this happened this one day because it was a huge fight, and Asher managed to fuck up Hannah Guild guys. And it's very funny to me because, like, the fact that it's apparently such a, like, well-known story makes it so much dumber that they didn't tell it in season 1 is just because he didn't write it in detail then. Haha. Fuck you, Opal. It's literally like one of your famous stories and you wouldn't tell people it for no reason. Awesome. Asher gets a scar in the scene from one of the guys. And he later acquires, as Eddie says, another scroll and uses the Find My Scroll features thing. Goes to some bumfuck shithole in Mistral and finds his phone buried under the ground with a note on it that just says sorry. and it feels pretty bad, man. Abby literally couldn't stop apologizing, but she had to do it.
Yeah.
She was the fire that led the ash. He's the ash. You get it? He burnt up. She's the fire. Good work, Chad. It's funny. I like that.
Can Chad be on the writing team for RWBY?
He does a better job. Oh shit! But speaking of how one of the writers is doing, let's cut back to Sapphire.
Okay. Yeah. So, I would like to say, man, I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Oh man, man, Felix, that slave stuff was really fucked up. But I love these hot dogs.
See, I'd say it's less than that because Phoenix quote has had a taco mid bite for the last presumably 20 minutes this story has been going on, which is really funny because he normally loves to eat tacos, but he hasn't eaten this one because that story says he quotes up really messed up.
Yeah, I mean, hey, at least he's got consistent characterization, right?
Yeah, he eats a lot. What a character!
How the mighty have fallen.
Yeah. Yeah. They basically just all go, damn. And then Pike and Arostra go, I don't know if we should trust her. And then Asher goes, what else do we have? And they all just kind of agree that this sounds like a bad idea to go to Abby. But they're like, I guess we should just go see her. Unless I'm missing anything. Do any of you have anything for this? I think that's all the scene was.
No.
Yeah, no, pretty much. That's pretty much it.
That's just what happens.
Just we don't trust her, but she might owe me. She might feel bad, guys.
Yeah,
I guess.
Maybe.
Can I say I love we shouldn't trust her? No shit.
Thank you. Arostra, the team.
Arostra coming in with the cutting dialogue.
Then Chad responds, and she just backs down. I guess you're right.
Maybe she's changed.
Now I gotta say, I really liked his backstory.
Yes.
It's probably the best bit of anything that's happened in this entire series.
Yes.
I feel like it probably will fall apart if her reason for backstabbing him is nonsensical. Am I missing something? Has there been a reason given for why she's backstabbed him? Other than she wanted to keep the MacGuffin?
She basically needed she needed a fall guy, and Asher was clearly disconnected and not actually in her crew, but was her co-worker. So it's like in the CEO, two smart guys invent something and one fucks the other with the patent. In their partnership, she gave Asher the blame and she took the glory, basically. So she basically needed someone who's a fall guy who's believable, I believe is the idea.
Okay.
She
I can see
her underlings down, be whatever.
I'm down with that explanation. That's good enough for me.
That seems like what it is. I think
have a question too, actually.
Please.
Maybe I missed it, but is Asher's reason for coming back literally to find her, right? Am I crazy?
It was just a job. No,
is he retarded to come back here ever?
See, I think I feel like now I would say that I don't believe it was ever outright stated in any way that wasn't awkward, but with the Taskmaster's arrival, it implies that all of them are interested in learning something. Now, for Terry, that doesn't work because he's an idiot who wrote his backstory poorly. But for all the others, it implies that whatever this thing of their backstory, the debtor, the Faunus connection, and Abby, were all somewhere near Kuchinashi reasonably. So it sounds to me like all of them are huntsmen and took a job in an area where they're also investigating something else. And that's believable to me, because Asher's never I don't want to see Abby. He clearly was really interested in finding out where the fuck happened to her when he came back here. So it's implied, but never directly stated, that they were probably, besides Pike, who doesn't make sense because he travels by the whims of fate, lol, all gravitated towards finding something Kuchinashi because they had something else they needed there too. It's kind of like being I need to afford my living while I'm there. Let me get a huntsman job while I look around, right? Makes sense?
Yeah, I get you.
I believe that's it. It is one of those points where it really feels like the setup probably limited them in that regard, where it's like, oh, thank God I found a fucking job there. Which is worse when it's implied that Ozpin also directed all of them there. So it really falls apart if you start to look at some of the inferences from Ozpin's influence in picking them. That is, like, hilarious. He must have asked fucking Jin to set up the scenario for him so he knew to pick these guys. It is insane otherwise. So the further back you take your view of this problem, the more it falls apart. But in the immediate, there's a justification. And they also, Phoenix, as they're all getting up, Phoenix just randomly goes, I want to go see Taupe. I liked him. And so they go!
I appreciate
No,
it.
stop.
him.
Let me translate. We have art for him. Let's go see the art.
And he pinged me and said, I have a Taupe backstory arc I'm trying to do. Please visit him.
This would be like, you know when Liam got the stuff commissioned for Blake? If Blake next session went, all right, guys, let's all like scrunch together here, get into frame.
The boat, and someone literally took the photo.
And someone, literally, this would be. Oh God.
Who's the next crew member? Who would that have been?
Come take the photo, please.
Okay, Leona, fuck off. Take the picture.
Yeah, take the picture.
Take the picture.
You're not in the crew yet, so you're not in the commission. Yeah, come on, take the picture, dumb fuck.
Take the picture.
That is so that is so on point and funny to me. Fuck. Yeah. Man, isn't it really fucked up that Taupe got a picture on Alabaster? Fuck me. God damn it. Or Takaya. What the fuck? I love my little cold boy.
He was funny. Well, look, I gotta think. Sorry, what are you saying, Blake?
I'm like the Taco Santa Claus.
I'm not there yet. Don't spoil it, bro.
Oh shit, I'm sorry.
I'm glad that he brought this up so we could get the part 2 that I think was I guess we didn't go over this. I
think Blake did mention in his recap where they went to go teach kids, Pike and Phoenix did, and they asked them basic bitch questions like, why did you become a huntsman? And both of them answered the same, to save people. What does a huntsman need to do? Pike said, you need to be strong. And Phoenix went, you need to be strong and smart. And then Eddie went, well, I can't have him say that, so he's just going to hear the smart part of what you suggested. And yeah, Eddie needs to finish the Quadro group. So he's like, everyone fucking go there. And you ask a roster and fucking Asher this.
Yeah.
All right,
so
now
I'm glad we got that opportunity. Thank you, Phoenix, for liking Taupe, I guess.
Thanks, Chris. Literally, Ron, your character has been stolen by Noah. The scene. Phoenix has taken Carrie's meme character away from him. All right, Blake. Now you can do the joke. Go ahead.
I'm like Taco Santa Claus.
More like Givo. My notes say after that, thanks, Liam.
It's so sad because I know I would have laughed at that joke if it wasn't in the title.
Phoenix takes a big bag of tacos, which must be greasy and smelly because it's fucking tacos in a bag. How would those work well? And tosses them out to all the kids.
So I have a controversial point.
Yeah?
I don't like tacos.
Wow, yeah, how controversial.
I am very brave. But like...
Yeah?
This is like more talking generally. I hate
Sure.
how Phoenix's character has just been destroyed and replaced with tacos.
He gave up.
He gave up. Liam's
He
right.
tried. He really did. He was giving it his fucking all in season 1.
He was walking down alley, saw White Fang symbols, like, Eddie, what's the Zelda puzzle to get me the information I need to see? I know there's something here. I want my fucking backstory. And he's just like, dude, no, Lamau.
It's just so depressing to fucking see that, like, happen. Just watch the episodes and see him literally just accept that he's gonna be a meme character.
He is a broken being. It is so fucked up.
It's so fucked up. Just being like, Jesus Christ. Like, I wish I could just get in there, DM for you, and show you that it can be better.
Blake, this game was really interesting. Thank you.
Man, I fucking love if I had Chris Cookiness thank me for running a good D&D game.
Big pace.
God, I feel so...
Oh, I hate Blake.
Oh, I hate Blake.
Arr, me money!
Blake.
Unfortunately, because Chris would embody Phoenix, he'd say, I don't like people who talk bad about my friends. I'm going beast mode and attack you.
I'm not quite going beast mode.
I'm going beast...
I'm basically just angry. I don't know why I didn't just
I'm going beast mode.
I love when he does it like, I'm not quite going beast mode, so you're just angry.
So you're just angry.
I'm going beast...
I'm experiencing a human emotion.
I'm going beast mode, SpongeBob.
Sponge.
So moving on, they ask, has anything happened in the scene other than asking them the Huntsman question?
We haven't even gotten to the actual Huntsman question lines. Yeah, you can say what Tope's asking them and how they respond. Go ahead.
What's the most important part of being a huntsman? Asher? Wait.
Asher
Sorry, Arastra.
Blake.
Oh.
Arastra?
I didn't write that down, I'm sorry.
Holy shit. Okay, fine, I'll do it. Don't waste your time. Stay focused on the mission.
Oh, yikes. Asher. Please, round 2. Better one?
Stay alive, lol.
Oh, fuck, I had the gun in my mouth. Thanks for telling me not to pull the trigger.
So like, Taupe is, like, reciting this, like, oh, that's so cool. And then Eddie weirdly asked these two for charisma rolls when the others didn't have to do that.
Well, it's because the others gave an acceptable answer, so he didn't feel the need to, like, take a roll to be like, okay. Well, no. See, Eddie wants him to roll, hopes they do poorly, so then he can, in canon, call them out for being retarded.
Well, except for a roster who he doesn't want to call.
Well, no, but
rolls a 1.
But like, he doesn't want to make it obvious, so he asked them both, even though he just means Chad.
Yeah, so Chad rolls well. He rolls like a 19, and he like regales the kids with cool stories about near-death experiences and how he was smart and not died. A roster rolls a 1, and Eddie isn't allowing himself to embarrass her. So he basically just says, you're too intelligent, and you get too into explaining yourself, so the kids lose track of it, and you're like frustrated that you can't like convey it well to them because you're not like able to talk on their level. I have to ask everyone, is this the clearest example so far of my queen, I bow? Yeah, this is clear favoritism.
100%.
Is it...
Character shits their pants when they roll a 1. Even Asher and Phoenix, like, it's not just Pike. Even, most of Pike's rolls end up with him shitting his pants no matter what, but those two still get shit with 1.
Yeah, but that's what
I call in the universe so I don't shit my pants, Eddie.
Eddie would never. Eddie literally got him a 1 in a backstory and laughed at him. A roster rolls a 1, he goes, ooh, and explains it like this. Like, this is so fucking, like, gay, Eddie. Like, you guys might think maybe we're just fucking, like, edgelords who are like, ew, women in video games or whatever. But no. It's so fucking...
Well, yeah, it's true. But, on the other hand...
It's so fucking awkward. It's like, dude, come on. Like, I'm not asking you to embarrass her. I'm asking you first stop doing this gay embarrass shit. But if you're gonna do it to everyone. It's so cringe.
I'm gonna say, like, GMs have favorites. You're not supposed to ever show it in game.
It's so cringe, dude.
No, who's yours?
Base, nice.
And why is it me?
Oh, nice. Yeah. You're too good. I couldn't have too much. Yeah. So that was fucking retarded. And then Eddie has Taupe walk up and open his mouth again to relay his backstory, which I once again, like, say, this could be okay, because Taupe, like, just starts... Sorry, I just want to say... the wiki is very funny sometimes. We talked about this. The wiki at one point didn't mention in the cuts, in the flashback, I forgot to mention this, the good line about her stealing Asher's scroll for the tab bad wiki writers. But good wiki writers, because they phrase it like this. As Taupe and Sapphire watch the other kids work on new drills, Taupe rambles about how his home village was attacked by Grimm and his family was killed. Holy shit!
He says some shit.
That's
Eddie does undermine Taupe by describing him as like how a little kid says it, even though Taupe's like 13. So like, yeah, he's small, but he's not like a little child. This is a child soldier. Listen, stop calling him little.
No, he has a lot of weight on his back from all his astroturfing. He's really tired.
But yeah, he's just like my family is killed. I was saved by a huntsman. I wanted to be one, and I live with like a nomadic tribe.
What a gay backstory.
Nice. Yeah, very cool, Blake. He lived with a nomadic tribe for a while, and he was described as like, I'm actually like pretty smart and strong for my age. I was able to help with bandits when they tried to like take people hostage then. And like, oh, that's kind of cool, Taupe. But you're also just like, if you have a brain, when he says nomadic tribe in Mistral, that means bandit tribe. And he got really close to almost giving Taupe a more interesting backstory, implying he came from bandits, but isn't like super fucked up like we've only seen the bandits to be in RWBY. Very close to having an interesting character here. Once again, Eddie, ghoulish grin, can't help himself and makes this as uninteresting as possible. Oh, yeah. And he doesn't even, he does not even get like a carry last time where he's like, follow your dream pipe. They just go like, okay, and we're real leave.
So literally imagine that gif of just the kid dancing, avoiding the signs on the grass, but it's just Eddie avoiding cool elements to his story.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this is very funny to me. So we're getting to the end, and so they're just like, okay, we gotta go find the Harf's base to find Abigail. All right, we're gonna leave the sewer. Eddie has them roll, and Pike notices there's a hitch in the security system, which they don't work on, but keep in mind for when they return. Oh, our fucking heroes! And he once again points out the security system. Oh, this is a detail that Templeton mentioned in the last few episodes, and they also ignored there, where Eddie keeps teasing the side quest, and they ignore that the security system is on the fritz. And Eddie can grind his teeth more about this. So then he makes them fucking spend hours looking for the warehouse based on Asher's memory. And they're there, dicking around, doing one of their epic planning how we attack a building segments. Enter. Group, enter. Team Sapphire versus a building.
God, I hate these fucking parts.
There's some dialogue I like in this scene.
Oh, there's an awesome moment I like in this scene that I'm gonna.
I have a really I have something I love that happens a little bit later in this scene.
Well, yeah, I've laid claim to the dialogue piece because I took a funny picture for it, but yeah, so like they're all kind of just like fucking around. Like Asher like stealths and climbs up and is like, I won't be stealthy compared to them. Phoenix is trying to use his sense of smell again.
You took the feet, might as well get some use out of it.
He literally somehow uses his sense of smell to notice the weird discolored floor area.
Did they fucking use a weird shiner? Like, what the fuck?
I like, what does he smell her feet, madame? Like, unironically, like, sniff, let me smell those pungent toes. I don't get it.
They do stomp to open it, so there would be extra dog shit residue on the tiles, Noah.
And Asher is like, oh, this is way harder than it was last time. He points out that, oh yeah, this is hard. So they spend a while fucking with the tiles. and before Asher rejoins the group, he's like talking about like, I kind of want to scope this place out a little bit. Or he's just like, I'm stealthed. I'm like, I'm a little far away from them. I don't want to be there immediately while they're fucking with the tiles. And I'm looking at this. And Eddie goes, when they're going into the hideout, and Asher is a little like far away, Eddie kind of coughs and goes, oh, Chad, is there anywhere specific Asher's heading?
Oh, yeah.
Chad, after every part of this episode, the broken man goes, to the objective, Eddie, and does this to the camera, and I lose my mind because Chad is literally just like, what the fuck do you think, Eddie? Yeah, I want to go down the railroad, Eddie. I want to go to where we're all here for. Like, his voice is the funniest fucking tone ever. He's talking to Eddie like he's a literal mouth breather. Like, why the fuck would you ask me that, Eddie? It fucking killed me.
It's really funny.
It's great. He is just done with Eddie's shit, and I can't wait to see episodes moving on to see if he keeps it.
Yeah, this episode literally destroyed Chad. This is the last note I had. This is just this picture of Chad. This episode was all around Chad. He got the shit ruined. He got his balls stepped on all episodes.
This is the quintessential fuck Chad episode. It's Chad. It's your episode. We're naming it. He's not Takeo. He's Givo. I don't give a fuck that it's your backstory episode. We won't give you anything.
Thank you for bringing it up just in case you all forgot. This is called He's Not Takeo, He's Givo. Liam's right. That's a great point to bring up, Liam. Just now that you've heard basically the whole episode, imagine being Chris and it's named that. Holy fuck. There's a little more to the episode. Like, Chad is basically meta talked into just going with them. Just go with the group. He's like, fine.
So they start talking about like, so like, are we just gonna like sneak in and we can like walk in and just like try and talk to them? And then there's a point where they're like, well, I mean, like, could we take them? And then Carrie's like, well, there's 4 of us. and Chad's like, well, she runs a gang now. And it was a great response. That shit made me laugh. And then Carrie immediately follows up with, you're right, she might have a child army too.
No, that's really funny.
He says that. I lost my shit. Carrie, you're not allowed to say that, you fucking idiot, but it's still funny.
I don't know. Carrie has always been on the fuck you, Eddie, ever since Pike did a funny oopsie, and I think he's getting in on the action. With Chad and Carrie enable fuck Chad the most out of the group. Like, Chris doesn't normally go fuck... not fuck Chad, fuck Eddie. Chris doesn't normally get in on, like, the fuck Eddie directly. He just gets, like, clearly frustrated. But Carrie and Chad will be, like, throwing in little barbs at Eddie when they get going with each other. I fucking love that shit.
Honestly, if you told me that, like, these episodes just came out and they, like, watched our fucking podcast and were making fun of Eddie with our fucking jokes, I wouldn't have been surprised. They literally... Honestly, I thought we were being a little bit nitpicky at points, but like, they're literally Chad giving him shit about fucking indeterminate amount of children consistently. It fucking makes me laugh. He did it sometime in the second episode, I forget where.
Oh yeah.
He did it multiple times in these 2 episodes.
It's so fucking funny.
It killed me every time, because it's just like, oh, he caught it too. He's some Eddie shit too. I love it.
I fucking love it. So the episode basically ends with them, like, doing the funny radio in, and Abby's like, oh, Asher, how good to see you again, or something. And he's, like, trying to end the episode. Chad's like, really, Eddie? You're not gonna let me respond? And Eddie gets bullied into letting him respond. It's just some equally boring stuff of, like, yeah, I think it's time we had to talk. The episode ends. And no one goes, no. They all just go, yeah.
He was trying to get one more power play on Eddie.
It literally was. Eddie tried to end the session. He said, no, give me my line. I don't care if his line
to be
was
fair,
shitty.
Eddie should have given him the line.
He should have. I agree. No, it's funny. I don't care if his line was shitty. He stepped over Eddie, and Eddie should have given him the line. So that's a double win. Holy shit, we made it. These episodes were... Like, we hyped up how shitty the backstory was. And the backstory's contents are interesting. It's the meta delivery package they were, and Eddie's insane ability to undermine a player even in their own pre-written backstory. What a psychopath. This was the most ghoulish Eddie session yet. Easily.
Oh, 100 fucking %.
Man, as someone who has no idea of how the rest of the season turns out, I'm excited to see what Abby turns into and is portrayed as. I hope it's consistent, at least on par with the flashback. I'm hopeful. The season's good, right, you guys? All right, I guess we'll find out.
No.
Damn it.
Yeah, any more closing thoughts for these episodes before I bring up the comments?
No.
Fuck the comments.
Nice. Ben, you got any? You're good.
Honestly, not really. Like, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah,
I don't really think there's much else to say. I mean, we've kind of railed Eddie, bros, and he deserves it. Because this is ridiculous.
You know what? I do have one more thing to say.
Oh,
nice.
shit.
Fuck Eddie.
Fuck Eddie.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm in. Yeah, fuck Eddie.
Okay, anything productive?
Troll 4 says, I can't wait to see Sapphire meet Ruby if they live that long.
Base. Holy base.
Soviet Hegemon says, I hope Sapphire appears in Volume 9. I know we can expect, based on the books and the fact they don't vacuum, Team Sun and Coffee will be prominent, but it'd be cool to have an Easter egg like Team Sapphire show up. And then ATK 1734 says, is it just me? ... Or does Eddie look strikingly like Adam Sandler?
Oh no!
Thank you for the comment section of this week's episodes, guys.
Jesus.
Well then,
Guys, whoever typed that here, admit it. It was one of you. Own up, bro.
Are you trying to like deflect because you actually did it?
I'll never
No,
tell.
I'm not trying to deflect, you psychopath.
I'll never tell.
Schizo. Oh shit.
All right.
All right, Ben. What's the question of the week?
Yeah.
Question of the week. Please watch a movie with a good tank chase scene. I can't remember what James Bond it's from, but there is one. It's a really good tank
That's not a
chase scene.
question.
That was a demand.
It's Goldeneye. It's Goldeneye.
Yeah, I really like
Oh,
this
nice.
bit.
What the fuck?
I like Ben's bit of just, what's my question? Watch this movie.
Well, like, what's my question? Like, you literally just find
Suiciding Barbure engagement. Bang.
Yeah, suicide. Sorry.
I think it's funny. I'm saying it's funny. Oh, this guy's so sensitive, William.
Psychos.
Fuck.
Schizos. I work with schizos.
This guy's so sensitive. Jesus Christ.
I should link our tumblers.
Guys, is this Game Theory? Team Supernova hate each other secretly?
Oh no, dude.
End the fucking
He's
episode.
Mario
The audience is
Communist.
dying.
If you guys had to guess which one of us hated the other, guess which one secretly hates one of the other in the comments. That's the question of the week.
That's such a fucked up question.
Yeah.
What the fuck? You can't use Richard, by the way. He's not here. We don't
What
hate
the
Richard.
fuck?
What? I'm just saying.
I
Cause,
didn't have
Who
enough
the fuck would
reserve
hate
of
Richard? I fucking
well,
love
no,
Richard.
I'm just.
Reserve of Richard to know.
What?
I trust them.
Fucking Jesus Christ. It's
You
just,
can include Nathan though.
Yeah, true fans can include Nathan.
I don't hate Nathan. I hate myself for
You're giving
giving him a
answers
shot.
away, Blake. Come on. Remember, guys, Blake's crafty. He might be trying to deflect you off the scent trail.
There's a right answer, and I'm
Watch how he
sure.
deflects
End
it.
the fucking episode already.
I was gonna say, watch how he deflects it now by doing the outro, but you talked over me like an autistic.
No, I'm
person.
gonna say there is a right answer, and I have faith they'll take it.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, I guess I'll end it. If you like what we do here, please like, comment, and subscribe. Please also share with anyone you know that might be interested. We're trying to get a cool 200 subs.
Hell yeah.
Other than that, I hope you do not mind the delays in the future. I assure you, they will try to be minimized as much as possible, but please bear with us. And yeah, other than that, just check out Records of Remnant on this channel. New Dawn Pirates down below. I'm sure you'll enjoy them both. And yeah, any final thoughts, anyone?
No.
All right. Well, see you next time.
Grab yourself a seat and keep those hands in the vehicle at all times. You're about to be taken on a ride through the untamed wilds of internet role-playing. Observe them in their natural habitat.
So you head out. You know that'd be funny. I didn't know there'd be consequences.
Enjoy the splendor of their spurgery.
Felix, who is the lion fauna,
And feast your eyes upon the questionable creations of internet randoms.
Actually, I've never DM'd before.
This is the Supernova Safari.